We're going to fight hard each and every day, no matter what hit pieces come our way, no matter who tries to take us down. We're going to fight, fight, fight.
The story of America is the story of an adventure that began with deep faith, big dreams, and humble beginnings.
At certain times when it seemed that there was just no hope, those are the times that turned out to be the best.
Never, ever give up. America is beginning a new chapter.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to MAGA versus the world. The theme of today's episode will be generational wealth. We're going to be breaking down the coalescing of multiple Trump policies and doing a little math. I know a lot of you people don't love math part, so I'm going to do it for you. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the outcome. So here
I love
we are.
that. I'm like, you
It'll
do
be
the
cool.
math, babe.
I'll do the math. You guys can check my math, of course, but I'll do it.
Welcome, everybody. And please remember to give us thumbs up and subscribe. And please hit the bell because you'll get alerted every time we go live. You also get an email with that. So it's great. And yeah, super excited for today's show. Super excited to pass America's 250th anniversary off without a hitch. It was beautiful.
Oh, it was so great. And we'll also be talking about that towards the end of the show because we just had such a great time, man. It was really cool watching it and getting into it and talking online with you guys as it was going on. And it was the greatest party that America's ever seen. So,
Bro, it was awesome.
Dude doesn't lie. And he doesn't lie when he's talking about a new golden age. And we're starting to see a lot of policies sort of intersect, and it's not necessarily being talked about as much, but again, we're going to break down a few different things and I'm going to pull it all together at the end. So what do you say? Should I jump into it?
Let's go. Let's do it.
The first step of this is one that you guys have been hearing a lot about because yesterday the Trump accounts went live, and these are going to be bigger than people realize, and they're a lot easier to understand than I think has been presented. So what I want to do first is, while I'm open to this page right here, is show you the potential of these, because this isn't some like gimmick. Hey, we're going to give your kid $1,000. So Trump said something during his speech in the Rose Garden yesterday where he talked about could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I was like, I went to Abby. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you said that. You're like, is that real?
You know, I was like, so,
you know, this.
I was like, how is that possible? I want to know. And so I've been digging on it a lot. And again, there's actually even a bigger part that links to this that we're going to go into right after. But this is how it's going to work. And I suggest everyone with a kid does this, at least looks into it and considers it. So the part where they're talking about $1,000, this is going to be for every kid born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. They will get a gifted $1,000, and just to start them off. But everyone can join. Any kid under 18 can join. If you have a kid under 18 that was born in 2022, you can still open it for them. You can even open it with $0, but you probably should put something in there, right? And you can start putting in, and then you're able to contribute up to $5,000 a year. And that's where some of the math comes in, where that sounds scary, but it's really not. So this is how it works. Say for the $1,000, if you have just $1,000 gifted, or you opened your kids with $1,000 and don't touch it till they're 18, that will mature to $6,000. That's a pretty freaking awesome return on your money. There's nowhere on earth where you can make that investment. Now, if you contribute $250 a year, that will mature to $19,000.
Wow.
$250 a year is
That's little.
$5 a month. It actually works out to $4 a week. I mean, $4.81 a week. Surely, I don't care who you are or what you're doing, you could find $5 a week. Okay. And that is something that if you were to just put $5 a week away, that is $4,500 by the time they're 18. But if you put it into this account, it will be $19,000. So yes, you can do it on your own, and you can even put it into bonds and different things, and they will mature to more than the $5 a week, which for 18 years, which is $4,500. But you're never going to turn that into $19,000, dude. This is the best place you could put $5 a week in your entire life. Now, you can contribute up to a max of $5,000 a year. $5,000 a year for a week is $96 a week. Okay, not nothing, but $96 a week. If you can make $96 a week happen, when your kid turns 18, he will have $271,000. That's
insane.
Right. Exactly. If you do $96 a week just by yourself, so roughly about, or $5,000 a year a week for 18 years is 90 grand. Okay. So listen, that's still cool if you could do that. But that'd be 90 grand. Here you're tripling it. There's nowhere on earth you can get 200% back on your investment for something like this. That's huge money. Now, if you can after 18 and say he's able to make the $96 a week, by the time he's 27, you're still just starting life. I bought my first house at 25, so this is right around that time for $300,000 actually, and I put zero down. It was really stupid, and I had a massive mortgage. But if I had this program and I was able to put $96 away a week, and my parents were before that, and wait to 27, I'd have $742,000. Now, if people wait till they're 55, this could get up to $13 million. Okay, so
my Lord,
they're all taking out at either 18 or 27, right? But even the 27 numbers, if you don't touch it and wait till you're 27, 15 grand. That's for nothing. That's
and
zero.
I guarantee there's probably some parents that would be like that. They're like, now, Billy, the rule is you even past 27, you have to wait until you're, whatever. Like, okay,
yes.
I will. But that's amazing. And I also noticed that they put a cap on it, because there would be people that know how insane this is. Like, I'm going to put as much as I can every time. But it makes sense they have to put that cap on it. But wow, what an opportunity, guys. This is wild.
Isn't that freaking crazy? Babe, $5 a week. $5 a week to the kids 27 is 51 grand. $5 a week.
Wild.
Okay. So that is game changing. This is totally game changing. Now, what do they do with these kids typically? Okay, because this is where I'm going to bring it all back. I have two more things to go over where then we're going to link it together, but it's going to be centered around this. Typically, these kids now are corralled into 4-year colleges. So instead of where someone used to just go become a tin knocker at 18 and, probably start with a regular wage, but by the time they're 22, 4 years in the business, they're making 70 grand a year, right? The trades can be very lucrative. These kids, by that time, 22, are just getting out of college, clean slate, starting their life with 50 grand in debt. Some of these schools, they have more than 50 grand in debt. So they have created a debt monetary prison. This is what Deep State has done. A debt monetary prison that now all the kids are funneled into. And that's how they're all starting their lives. So now think about this. Again, anyone under the age of 18 can open these. Okay, so this can be for anyone, right?
I wish I was under 18.
And for the kids for the years of 2015, 16, 17, and 18, they're going to get the free $1,000. So for them, just not even touching anything. If they wait till they're 55, they'll have $243,000. So this is a massive program. Now, where is this? Now, where is the programs for the adults, right? Right? That's awesome for the kids starting life. Adults are now kind of in this situation where there's no manual labor jobs. So unless you went and got a college degree and you have a pretty decent office job, which they do exist, but obviously the pool now have so many people going into it, it is harder to get them. So unless you're there, you're either hoping they raise the minimum wage and working at McDonald's, or you're on welfare. The end. So now
I've known a lot of people like that too, where they have a degree and then they're just working at a gas station because they can't get that job with their beautiful 4-year degree in teaching or whatever, and they can't get a job. Wow. How sad is that?
I remember seeing people I knew who went to college working at the local Best Buy by me. And I remember just walking in. I forget who it is now, but this is years ago. I had this revelation where I was just like, I know you were one of the ones who went to college, and I'm, the dirtbag who went to construction. But they were working at Best Buy. So that happens as a pretty typical thing, right? So this is the part where the adults get to play, right? And again, here are some of the things from the Trump accounts first, right? Where, like I was saying, anyone under 18, $1,000 treasury receipt for the kids born between January 1st and December 31st. Tax advantage investment account in the child's name, right? They're tax-free. Epic, dude. You can contribute up to $5,000 a year. There's going to be invested in U.S. stocks. They're running it like a 401k or an annuity fund, and you can do it per child. So you can do multiple of these for your children.
Bank that puppy up.
Yes.
Start having babies.
I freaking love it. So now this is what spawned this next breakdown. I came here. This is yesterday. The White House put out that Toyota is officially moving production of their signature Tacoma truck to San Antonio, bringing American jobs and production. And those were being manufactured in Mexico. If you guys have watched my videos, you've heard me rail on when Clinton initiated almost all of this. NAFTA was the catalyst for it all, but there's obviously many moving parts to it where they moved manufacturing out of the United States, and it just destroys the blue-collar world. Where to leave? It left only construction jobs, the jobs you can't move out because they are localized. And then they took those and they flooded them with illegal immigrants. So they have removed the blue-collar option, and that's what I was saying. Now the kids, they're all funneled into colleges, which is diluting the amount of jobs that you can get now from your college degrees, and it's also starting them with massive debt. So this move by Toyota here, this is a part of a broad thing we're going to go through. It's a $3.6 billion investment. Now they have pledged to do a total of $10 billion in investment. So this is the first move towards reaching that $10 billion goal. The move was brought on due to they're getting some state incentives from Texas, but the driving factor was the Trump tariffs. Exactly what I said the slow roll part of the tariff deal was going to be. I said this about a year ago when everyone was, the tariffs, right? And I was saying, dude, this is a process. It's going to take a decent amount of time. But if you guys can be patient and let it work, you're creating massive, massive growth. Okay. It's going to be a legendary move. Again, one of the effects of the tariffs is going to be to bring manufacturing jobs to the United States. That means good paying jobs, more money being injected into our economy, right? Because it's more than just a singular job. That person now has money to spend in and around town, right? They're also it affects other businesses around them, local supply chains, etc. It also works to bring products cheaper. Guess what? People can start lowering their prices to outdo their competition when they're manufacturing it 2 states away rather than 2 countries away. Gabish? So this particular, in Toyota's case, they're doing a big renovation to their San Antonio facility. It's going to be ongoing until about 2030 is when it'll be fully finished. But you can bet that the Toyota Tacoma is about to shed a decent import cost, even before the added tariffs. It's also going to support, again, indirect jobs in the supply chain and local economy. The new addition is estimated to bring 2,000 jobs. We're talking good jobs, up to $88,000 a year. Okay. That's roughly, after taxes, about $1,300 a week take home. Now, say you have 2 kids. You just got this new job. If you could part with $200 a week, $190 a week, technically, or make it $1,100 a week take home with your new job, you can set your kids up with $271,000 when they turn 18. Okay? That's how these things are going to start compounding each other. Everything Trump is doing is compounding with each other. He's setting this country up for generations. And we've lamented, you've heard me, where people have no patience. They were asking about gas prices 2 months into his term. It's like they're not thinking big enough. When you pertain to that, the amount of drilling areas he's opened up, gas and oil leases, land leases he's opened up, even nuclear technologies we were going over last week that he has set in motion. Low gas prices are one day going to be the least of the wins. There's a lasting vision in what's going on right now. Now, with all that being said, I want you to think about this too. This move by Toyota is just one example. Just one. GM Appliances have announced a historic $3 billion investment to expand in U.S. manufacturing, right? This was last summer. $3 billion. No one even knows because none of this is making the news. But now that they're starting to pile up, we're going to make a news right now. They also announced a couple months ago another $1 billion in manufacturing. GE, they're expanding and modernizing multiple U.S. plants. In the Kentucky, this is the biggest one is going to be in Kentucky, but they're also expanding plants in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina. The Kentucky one alone, they're estimating 800 jobs, upwards of $100,000 a year. That's huge. As someone who grew up poor, I remember I was one of the last ones to really get in. My uncle had to really work to get me into the surveying program, the 15D program for the operating engineers, because it's just, first of all, it's just not a lot of blue-collar jobs. It's only construction. So everyone's trying to get a construction job, right? And this is 2002. So that market was flooded because they had sent all the manufacturing away, the only blue-collar jobs that were left. And I had friends all the time, Zer, man, you get me a shot in the union. And it was hard. It's hard to do because it's, again, flooded. You can't do it. Now, just imagine 800 jobs opening up in your town. People can start spreading that around. That's massive. And again, these are decent jobs. These aren't, high minimum wage jobs. So that's what GE is doing. Now you have awesome. John Deere. They're putting together new facilities, including a distribution center near Hebron, Indiana, and an excavator factory in Connersville, North Carolina, as part of a commitment to American production amid tariffs and administration focus on revitalizing domestic industry, bringing hundreds of jobs. Again, these are hundreds of high-paying jobs that could go well over 100,000 in many places for those particular ones. Now, staying in the construction land, you got J.C. Bamford Excavators, $500 million investment to double their plant size to increase domestic production capacity, again, so they don't have to pay the tariffs from equipment built abroad. Estimated 1,500 jobs. This is also in the San Antonio area, like Toyota is. So that area, if you're in anywhere near San Antonio, keep an eye out, dude. Over the next couple of years, real jobs are opening up. You have Johnson & Johnson has announced multiple new expanded facilities in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and more. And this is, again, to get around high tariffs and support domestic production to the tune of $55 billion over the next 4 years. They estimate, this one's estimated to provide 2,000 high-paying jobs or in and around these areas. You have the next one, Eli Lilly and Company. They're investing $27 billion in 4 new domestic manufacturing sites in Virginia, Texas, and Pennsylvania. This is estimated 3,000 high-wage manufacturing jobs. We're talking engineers, scientists, lab technicians. These can go well over 100,000 even, okay? You have, this one is from Micron Technology. This is the biggest one of the bunch. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because these aren't all the examples. There are a lot of manufacturing plants coming back to the United States, and no one's talking about it. Micron Technology. This is the company that manufactures advanced memory semiconductors for NVIDIA, okay, AMD, Apple, Google, Intel. The majority of these historically have been produced overseas in their plants in Singapore and Japan. Now, in response to Trump's tariffs and policy pushes for domestic manufacturing, they're investing $200 billion in new factories, and I think 2 of them in Boise, Idaho, New York, and expansions to their plants in Virginia. Estimated amount of jobs? Take a guess.
I don't know.
I
have no idea.
I wouldn't have guessed it either. I wasn't making notes last night. Over 17,000 high-wage advanced manufacturing jobs, with a further estimate of over 70,000 indirect jobs across their U.S. investments. Massive, dude. This is absolutely massive. Another one last example I'll give you, and again, there's a whole bunch more past this. These are just good ones that I wanted to highlight. GM is shifting production again from Mexico to their U.S. plants in what's being estimated at an approximate $4 billion investment over 2 years, including multiple U.S. plants in Tennessee. There's a New York propulsion plant and others in Michigan and Kansas. Thousands of good-paying union manufacturing jobs. Talking again, 100K a year. And remember, not only do these inject money into the local economies, but they also pump up local supply chains. They just add money to the communities with new people having extra money, expendable income. And alongside all the permanent jobs, they're also going to be generating estimated hundreds of thousands of construction jobs over these years. Absolutely huge. And again, there are a lot more of these being built everywhere across the United States thanks to Trump's domestic manufacturing policies and his tariff policy. This is lasting, impactful change. This is why they fought the tariffs so hard, because they've worked so hard for so many years to get manufacturing out of the United States. For money, yes, but it's also part of the bigger picture aimed at crippling our working class. This is fixing all of that. These are the type jobs that people can use to lift themselves out of poverty. The Democrats' only suggestion for fixing poverty is always to raise the minimum wage because they want everyone to work at McDonald's and make just enough money doing so, so they're content with just enough. They don't want someone opening up a $1,700 paycheck from the factory and realizing that they can start making real life moves and counter moves with this. This is how you change society. That's how you re-energize down and out communities, not with $5 extra an hour at Burger King. That's not how you do it. Now, to circle back to the Trump accounts, this is breaking the cycle. Why did they work so hard to send manufacturing overseas in the first place, to remove the blue collar option. Okay. You flood the ones you can't send overseas, like construction with illegals. And now you corralled every kid into either a 4-year college or what's the alternative? A minimum wage job or welfare. So
Yes.
that is it, dude. That is what we're talking about. So when back in the day, you used to have, half the class would go to college, the other half would be starting life right at 18 at a blue collar job. Now you have nearly every single kid in America starting life at 22, $50,000 in student loan debt. The deep state's debt monetary prison. This administration and their allies in Congress are making generational changes to our system, bringing back manufacturing and removing the illegals brings back the blue collar option. So, right, you're bringing back all these factory jobs and you're removing the illegals. Now the blue collar option is back on the table. To start your life at 18 and by 22 be making 80 grand a year option is now returned. Okay. There's also a bill right now aiming to lower the interest rate on student loans down to just 2%. So these kids can actually pay them off by a decent age. Right now, they're between 6 and 9%. And with the Trump accounts program, you're also going to have kids hitting 18 where anywhere from $6,000 to $271,000 as they start their life. Donald Trump, I can't state this clearly enough, is destroying the indentured servant prison the deep state has built around our young adults. So I don't want to hear, when's he going to do something ever again? They were doing a million somethings all concurrently, and they're all starting to bear fruit right now. There's also, again, this is another thing. These all work in consort with each other. He's got the Trump Workforce Pell Grants program. And now Pell Grants usually were just for regular college. Now they are going to be offered for trade schools. You understand? The Pell Grants, they're free money. That's a grant that you don't pay back a Pell Grant. And again, they used to be handed out for regular college, upwards of $7,000 a year. $7,395, and that's pretty standard. That's what they've been for a while. And if you get one, that's good. If you're going to regular college, it's certainly not going to cover that full year, but it's something. But they were typically only for the regular full-time college. Now they are being opened up for trade school. Okay.
Hallelujah.
So this is, again, this whole thing is bringing back the blue collar world to this country. Okay. There's a fast they can get there for short programs now, 8 to 15 weeks, 150 to 600 clock hours. Eligible fields are welding, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, CDL. This is huge. A lot of those programs, they cost, $5,000 to $15,000. And it's a one-shot deal. You go there for however many months, you learn that trade, and now you're an electrician, or now you're working HVAC, and now you know this. I know my dad took an electrician one when we were kids, simply just to learn how to wire our house, and he rewired our entire house. But that is a freaking awesome thing. All these things are happening one by one by one, and they're all starting to coalesce and create the golden age.
Yeah. I just love how you broke that down. I didn't want to interrupt you, so I just took a bunch of notes. And also there's great comments in my chat here about people wanting to start the accounts. And they're wondering, as a grandparent, if they can start an account if they are a what was the word?
Yes.
And I think you can, Crystal.
I have the answer
Crystal
to
is
that.
like, oh my gosh. Basically, also knock my socks off. Really good to see you. It says our TDS stepdaughter-in-law refuses to sign a Laura Jane for Trump accounts. Isn't that funny? Just because it's Trump. It's the wildest thing. I told hubby, as a grandparent, he can without their permission. Well, and that's the thing is to circle back to everything about what you went through, Brad. So in a culture, people that have more money they're just going to be happier people, first of all. It's going to make less crime because people don't need to steal. People don't need to break in. And again, like you said, it's a plan to get out of this indentured servitude. I remember seeing that with these woke colleges. I came from my parents have always been based. So they didn't tell us what we could and couldn't do. But mom and dad always leaned on, if you go to a college, maybe a Christian college or do trade schools, because trade schools is where it's at. And I love how you said, because the future that they had been presented, let's say through the Obama era, was, the only way to succeed is go to college. These kids turn 18 and know that they're going to go into debt, 40 grand. First of all, that feels insanely scary as all get out. It's a panic mode. And that means you have to work your whole life to pay off a debt that you shouldn't even have to pay. So this makes us not dependent on that system anymore. And also with the tariffs, I love how you broke it down. I saw a lot of, I don't know, I would say, Republican type MAGA accounts attacking Trump when he first started doing this. And I just thought to myself, look, if America is a bucket, without the tariffs, those were holes poking. We were losing all of our water. We were losing all of our control, losing all of our manufacturing. We were losing everything. Trump put plugs in the bucket. And then he said, hey, instead of us putting all our stuff over to Japan, why don't you guys come over here? And this is where it gets really cool, is what I thought. It means that they're going to have to follow, let's say, good work regulations that we have here, standards in America that maybe they didn't have over there. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just bringing everything to a better standard, better quality, better steel, better everything. And I love that the other countries want to invest. That's great, because now it makes them dependent on us.
Yes.
Boom! The scales have changed. That's
they have
beautiful.
Absolutely changed. They're freaking well said. And to answer the person in your chat, yes, grandparents can, families, friends, and employers can contribute up to $5,000 a year. And I was reading, it doesn't say that explicitly here, but I was reading last night that grandparents can indeed do it, and they've made it easy.
That's awesome.
All right, so you can check it all the time. You can see where they stand currently. You can watch what they're earning. You can see, have all your kids in the same place. And
that is fun.
And it's easy. Add money in seconds. Pick the source, confirm the amount, done. Set repeating contributions to your child's wealth. And again, and you can even put it on autopilot. So like I'm saying, if you just get used to, that's how I used to save money all the time. I used to do $20 a week in an envelope, right? And I would just do it automatically. So whatever my paycheck was, it was $20 less in my mind. And all the time, I would be like, man, what's this up to? $600.
Yeah.
Let's go, boy. That's how I bought my first DVD player. And then, of course, there were all $100 that freaking same year. That if you guys, anyone remembers the Christmas time, where all of a sudden DVD players were $100 and everyone was getting one. Well, that summer I bought a effing $500 one while there was still that much. I'll never forget that. But
I'm sorry, babe. That sucks.
I'm going to take a second and do our first sponsor here. Well, we got you guys' attention, and yeah, man, we hope you're enjoying a little MAGA versus the world, because I'm enjoying what's going on.
Amen. Me too.
And Trump versus the world, that's for sure.
Right?
Now, we hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. If you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you've felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. It's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all of that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin dollar backed stablecoin, or even digital gold backed by real gold. Now, no complicated setup. It connects you with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators. like us directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. It's just a few minutes. You can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. And with that, we welcome you guys back. So what do you think about the manufacturing coming back? We went through a lot of plants here, and man, dude, I think, to me, that is the only way to really lift up poverty.
Oh yeah, dude. And by the way, rock and roll Toyota. All Alaskans here love Toyota and Subaru, but Toyota is rock and roll. But real quick, can I go back to this thing? Because Crystal just wrote.
Yes, absolutely.
She goes, "Yay, okay, I just downloaded the app." So that's super cool. That means she just did that within us doing the show. So guys, it seems like it's really quick and easy. And what a cool way to look. You know how we're all based here on this channel, right? What a cool way to escape the global cabal control, because that's what it is. Trump is systematically dismantling the old guard. These things were set in this position in this way for a long time. Think about the Federal Reserve even. Think about the debt system. This man is brilliant, okay? So Brad, you know a lot about him, his New York era time, being a Mongol construction, building these things. He's always had this type of vision, but now as a president, he can implement it. And I remember thinking that, about the welfare situation. These kids don't want to go to college because they don't want to get in debt. So they're like, I'm just going to sit on my butt. I can get free money from the government. That is creating little commie babies. Okay, let's just be honest about it. So he's breaking every angle you can think of with that. And amazing. So yeah, I'm so happy that you were able to make that account for your granddaughter. That's awesome, Crystal. Rock and roll. And so about the manufacturing, everything made in America is better. Okay, let's be honest about it. I remember one time Trump was talking about how a lot of our steel was coming out of
China.
Yeah, it was China. Yep. And he's just saying it's kind of like, how do I say, cut with not so stronger metals, where America metal is strong, right? You might have to pay a little more money for it, but that's the whole point, is that so slow degradation, that because we were outsourcing all of our companies and things to these places, their standards were lower. So it slowly brought us into this, like the Walmart era. Like, look, I'm not attacking Walmart per se, but you know what I'm saying? Something that you buy and the next day it's broken. We don't want that. Trump is trying to make America great again. So from every single angle, I believe that all these countries investing in America is smart for them, and it's really good for us because we're not a communist country. So we believe in capitalism. We believe in expansion. We believe that the blue collar can invest correctly and wise, and then their kid could have 250 grand when they're 18. That blows my mind. That blows my mind. But you can see it there. Trump planned it. And sorry, I'm going on and on, but I love it. It's beautiful.
I absolutely love it as well. And this is going to be really cool. Some people are saying in chat that the grandparents can contribute, but they can't open one. That's something I would like to look into, but it might have to be the direct guardian might be the one who opens it. But, if you tell them, listen, just open it, I'll put money in. It's fine. You don't have to put anything. It's just an investment towards your kids. So I think depending on how terrible the TDS is, some of them might just take a chance. What do you have to lose? You say, listen, even if you put nothing in, they're going to get $6,000 when they turn 18. You just present it like that and see what happens. But once it's open, any person who is associated with the child can put money into it, and that's pretty awesome. I don't love that anything you talk about, there's always the negative people. There's always a negative pushback. We got to change our mentality here. Okay. The mental, everything sucks. It don't matter if this good thing happened, because here's a potential bad side that could happen with it. So obviously that's the only thing that's going to happen. No, man. Break out of that mentality. Okay. The human mind is very, very powerful. And the collective accepting of something good and just knowing that, yeah, this is going to be the best possible outcome is going to come of this, you will raise that possibility. Also, whether it's some sort of mystical thing happening or not, just in a regular way, when you set your mind to win mode, you just operate differently. So some people will be like, well, yeah, you put it out into the world. That, that's the secret and it happens. Well, maybe it's something mystical, or maybe it's God answering your prayers, but it's also you're setting yourself up for success. You've said to yourself, this is going to work, and I'm just going to operate as if it was going to work. And a lot of times those things work. When you say something's not going to work, you don't realize it, but subconsciously you're acting you're going to approach it slightly differently, and you are lowering the chances of it working. Like the manufacturing plant, someone said, oh, well, for who are these jobs for? Mexicans? No, bro. They were for Mexicans when the plants were in Mexico, but now illegal Mexicans are getting deported, upwards of 3 million deportations already. And also, too, is even the ones who aren't getting deported, they're not exactly doing the Mexican hat dance out in public right now. They're laying freaking low, too. These are jobs for those areas, okay? If you're a legal Mexican American, yeah, you can go apply, and maybe you'll get one, maybe you won't. If you're a regular person, like when I worked construction from 2002 to 2019 in New York City, there were plenty of white people. There were plenty of Spanish people. There were plenty of black people, and they were all hardworking people who were trying to make something of themselves. That option, being returned to the United States of America, is massive. Now, as far as impoverished communities, the largest community of American citizens living under the poverty rate are Caucasian Americans. There is double the amount of Caucasian Americans living under the poverty line than black or Spanish. And if you add the black and Spanish together, there's still slightly more white people living in poverty. Okay. As someone, I don't want to say I grew up in abject poverty, right? Because my dad worked his ass off as a paper delivery guy. We barely scraped by, and we didn't go out to eat or have anything extravagant growing up, but there was always food on the table and a roof over my head. But nevertheless, there was zero money in the Zerbo household for anything. We didn't get no allowance. I started paying rent at 16, working at Burger King. I had to give $50 a week from my paycheck, or actually it was every other week. Burger King's they would pay twice a month, and I have to give $50 a paycheck to my parents at 16, 17, even 18, 19, 20 while I was still living there.
It taught you good.
Yeah, totally good. There was, again, and how did I finally raise myself up out of just barely making it? By working construction, entering the blue collar field. They used to do a thing. It was at least tradition for that crew in Northside, but where they made the new kid open his paycheck in the dark. And
What?
I had just come from, I was working at the pizza place before that for $7.50 an hour. And that new job, I was the lowest paid man on the whole job, but it was still $16 an hour to be a rod man on a New York City construction job, a Trump job, part of Trump City over there by the West Side Highway. And I opened it, and I can't even tell you what it was. It was like $900 or whatever it was. And I remember being like, oh my God, it was just this, and then they were all laughing, like, you're the lowest paid guy on the job, right? They all got a kick out of it, but it was cool. And when they turned that lights on, man, and I saw that paycheck, $16 an hour and whatever it was, $800-900, it was like at once for 1 week, my life has changed, and it changed my whole life. And I was able to move on. That is being brought back to America. I know people can't understand this, but it's being brought back to the United States of America, and that changes everything. My grandparents met at a slipper factory on the island of Manhattan. They were both working at the slipper factory, and that's how they met. And there used to be a lot of manufacturing plants in New York, and that's how most people made a living wage. They had 9 kids, and starting there was how they started their life. And then, my uncle, my grandfather, he delivered for an ice in the summer and cold in the winter. So between him and my dad, I don't know whose freaking forearms were bigger. My dad delivering for a paper company 100 boxes of reams of paper every day, or my grandfather carrying blocks of ice without elevators up 10, 15 stories in Manhattan. And but again, these were jobs you could work with your hands and make a living and support a freaking family. Donald Trump knows that. Like I said, I started this journey on Trump Building F in I think they're called the Riverside Projects or whatever, but we just called it Trump City in those days. And that is how you change. Awesome.
Oh yeah, 100%. This goes way back to what you were saying before with having a positive outlook and thinking of the good, the glass half full. And a lot of people think, well, that's just crazy. I think you mentioned that it must have been from that documentary called The Secret. I don't think I ever watched it, but I know what you're saying. You ask, or you think it's going to happen, come into fruition, it does. Well, there is a Bible verse that talks about this. It is Mark 11:24, and it says, "Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you have received it, and it will be yours." Now, I'm not saying you wish for a donut, it's going to be right there. But the idea is that your mindset has to be in the mindset of winning, growing, incentive. See, Trump's giving people incentive. Like, Brad, you open that letter and you're like, whoa, I paid 1,600, whatever the heck. Like, this is amazing. I actually want to work more because I actually got rewarded for my work. See, like that is, and not a little bit. And that's what Trump's trying to do, is by cutting off this type of welfare state mentality we've talked about. The whole middle class was removed. Mom and dad, I remember growing up, they talked about that extensively. They saw that happening. My parents were like so based, I didn't even know it. But that's what he's putting back in, because guess what? That middle part is the part between low poverty and then going, I'm going to give a damn. I'm going to work hard. Guess what? I actually do get rewarded for my good work. Oh crap, I could actually keep on going better and get better, and I'm going to get recognized and get even higher. Like, that's what capitalism is. That's what biblical principles are. You do good, God rewards you. Okay. Like, you do good for your family. Any kind of improvement is good. And so that's where we need to be. We need to have our mindset in improvement, in making America great again. That's what it's all about. Golden age. Why do you think he calls it a golden age? It's trying to make people excited. We're going to go to this new stage where the world can be free, because it's not just America. We're leading the charge, but these people investing, they're excited too, because that's what it's going to bring wealth to their country. And it's a win-win-win. Plus, hopefully, no more wars. That would be nice. So instead of people dying, people can get married, have babies, develop their land, make companies, open up a pizza shop, like this is what America should have been. And Trump is bringing us into that. It's exciting. I told that people, I think it was my show last night, I was just like, guys, we are living in history. I'm like, just grasp it. You can't quite see it when you're in it, but when we pass through, we're going to be like, bro, Trump was a legend. And I do believe he was saved by God to continue saving America. And we've been praying for that connection.
Okay.
We keep on losing connection.
Okay, yeah, I lost that too for a second.
Yeah, you
love
keep
where you're going
glitching
with
so
that.
bad, like the whole show. So I don't know what's going on. But yeah, anyways, hopefully we'll stay connected.
Hopefully, I that was the first glitch for me on my end, so hopefully it's been good.
Glitching the whole time. Yeah.
There is this is listen, all of it is a part of everything. So as far as people, I see someone saying, no, there's no manufacturing, there's no blue collar jobs. Dude, not like there used to be. Used to be almost all blue collar jobs. Now that is a minimal, sparse field. I want to show you this as well, because again, it just shows that everything this guy is doing is setting up opportunities for people to make money, save money. Make money, save money. That seems to be the two ways. This is
Name of the
from
game.
2 days ago with President Trump, saying he was just informed that one of the biggest, best, and smartest retailers in America, Walmart, will be lowering prices by a lot. At my administration's request to celebrate our great country's 250th birthday, Walmart will in particular be dropping the price for a pound of ground beef by almost 15%, among many other products. It's a huge deal for the many Americans who smartly shop at Walmart, which is a truly patriotic company who loves the USA. My administration is lowering prices that Joe Biden incompetently raised with the worst inflation crisis in history, a total disaster, along with the southern border, the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, and many other failures. Just as I promised, oil prices are plummeting fast. Gas prices at the pump are dropping too, just like egg and prescription drug prices, which I'm bringing down by historic levels. Walmart's stepping up in a big, bold way, and other retailers should follow the lead of these absolute patriots. He's getting these people, he's bringing them to the table and getting them to work with him, getting them to invest. Remember his tour, his Middle East tour? What was that, about 6 months to a year ago? I don't know. It's all starting to run together. It was one after the other. Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, investing crazy amounts of money in the United States. You also, then again, you have all the manufacturing is returning to the United States. You have places like Walmart agreeing to start lowering some of their prices. These are all things. These aren't the quick fix that everyone's looking for, which the quick fix, it's just that. It's quick. It happens. Whoa, it's cool. Everyone's really excited because it happened right away. And it doesn't last. Quick things don't have lasting power. What he's putting is building foundations, right? Trump is a builder. He's building a foundation right now to reinvigorate the American dream.
Yes. And
Love it.
Again, just from the broader, the 40,000 foot view here, we've been controlled by a global cult for a long time. America was taken over just as well as every other country. You had any kind of banks that were, controlling of our commerce. All of these, like, think about Congress making special deals, passing things that only benefit these big mega corporations. Think about Obama, what he did with like the farming and having had genetically modified seeds, all these things. Trump is the president of removing those. What do they call them? They're not laws, regulations. But really, who is it that said that? Regulations are basically just laws that nobody got to vote on. Nobody.
Yes. Regulations.
They just go, this will hurt the fish in the pond 5 miles up your place, so you can't build that facility. Why? Oh, the fish. And so therefore you can't. And it's like nobody got to vote on this. Nobody got to talk about it. There was no town hall. There's nothing. So these are what a lot of regulations that have come up do. And Trump, I think he did this in his first term, but I think he's doing it in his second term as well, where he made a promise that for every regulation that they do, they will remove 10. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And I think we did the math, and it ended up, guys, being like, when you put it into a pie, it was like for every one he took away like 100. I'm not even joking. I think Brad did that one time. But so that's what he's doing. He's freeing up the Americans to live, to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, right? So It's just, he's not just a man that talks, guys. He's a doer. Like, he is literally doing what he said. When have we had a president do that? Probably last one was like Reagan. I don't even know, guys. It's been a long time. And what an amazing swap that we're in right now. And we are going to be, we actually are right now, but a leading superpower on the earth. Okay. Trump said that on his Mount Rushmore speech. He's like, we are the strongest country on the earth. We are the most wealthiest country on the earth. We have the strongest military on the earth. It's like, okay, I get you. But that's exactly what he's been doing. And it is paying off. And I just love to cover it. Because, Brad, also when he was writing down all these things, and even really good networks that I love, they haven't dove into this much. They haven't seen this foundation that Trump has been creating. Well, you could say behind the scenes, but he's just been doing it. And if you don't pay attention to it, it's just happening. And next thing you know, Walmart prices are dropping, this, that. You're like, what happened? It's all here.
Now, what do you think of this? Do you think they like the fact that some of these things aren't being reported on? Because they fight him. They fight him with the courts, and they fight him with crooked judges, or just literally by trying to pass legislation through the crooked politicians that they have planted in. They try to fight him every step of the way for everything. So maybe they're loving. Maybe that's why they prop up these high-level target issues and get everyone fighting about it, and then they're like, all right, Pell Grants for trade school.
Yeah. Meantime.
Yeah. Let me talk with, okay, Toyota's going to bring back. Here, this one's going to bring back. This one's going to bring back, right?
Yep. And again, with the whole TDS situation with the Trump accounts, it's funny because you have these people now that have been brainwashed, like, I can't do those things because I don't like Trump. But there's giant companies like Toyota that doesn't have TDS. Like, eventually, I hope the public sees that big corporations, big leaders, all these people that are behind the structure of society are like, yeah, I'm going on the Trump train now. Like, yeah, let's go. And so I hope eventually it'll just bring the rest of the population. They just have to. It's a brainwash is very, very hard to reverse. So it'll be a little struggle for a while.
Yeah, it definitely is. And here's what you were talking about. It's the 1 in, 2 out executive order, and they did it right off the bat when he entered thing. And I think what you were thinking with the 10 is it wound up being way more like upwards of 10 out for everyone.
Okay, so that's what it was, right?
Regulation, yeah. But that is epic, dude. That is so freaking huge, and that has continued. And what they're doing by taking away the regulations, like you're saying, they're removing the laws that no one voted on, and regulations are just stifling. They've been removing regulations all these different places. And funny, it's even served as a point of contention with some people who, now our guys in. Now we want you to make this, and this illegal, right? And what they've been doing is, for some of these things, they're incentivizing people to do the right thing, but it's like we're stripping away regulations. So the ones we're adding are going to be minimal. And maybe you don't love this. You think this should be made illegal, and we're not putting a regulation on it, but they are incentivizing the right thing. You have people, especially in HHS, like RFK Jr., who is setting those policies in the right direction health-wise, maybe not explicitly banning things, but say with removing the dyes. They made it very appealing to want to remove the dyes. They didn't regulate it. They didn't make these companies, you have to do it with a gun to your head, but they made it a thing. And now a lot of them have removed. There are people, what state was it? Like Idaho or Ohio? Probably not Ohio, but it's somewhere over by Idaho, if not Idaho, who have agreed to take fluoride out of their water. I think Miami-Dade County also in Florida has agreed to take fluoride out of their water.
Wow.
So they weren't mandated to do it, but we're creating a culture now where it is good for you to do it, and they're incentivizing these type things. So I like that approach. I understand it. And I know everyone we're in now, so we want to prosecute everyone we hate and make everything we don't like illegal. But it's like that's what the other side was just doing to us, where this is a change of the whole mentality. Not just the system, the whole mentality is being overhauled right now. And it's going to elicit huge, huge change.
And understand, and Trump obviously has been doing this, we will be fighting the opposing side. You could call it the evil in this world, probably indefinitely, guys. But that's what hold the line is. So we just push back on it. Because this is one of my point. I typed in removing fluoride from the water. I wanted to know what states are doing it. Still haven't found it. But the first thing that Google pops up is, it says removing fluoride from community supplies is projected by health experts to increase cavities and dental care costs.
Oh no, not cavities.
What about the brain that's being calcified? What about the docility that was proven what freaking Hitler did in his concentration camps? They were giving it to the prisoners of war. And this is documented. They were giving it to prisoners of war to see if it caused them to be docile. Guess what it did? It made them be good little, prisoners of war.
Yeah. Oh, and when
we shouldn't be drinking that then.
When was
Yes,
the
it just shows
fluoride
you.
campaign, babe, to put fluoride in all our things? Within 10 years of the end of World War II. Isn't it funny that we brought all these Project Paperclip scientists and everyone over from the Nazis and then started implementing similar programs? The MK Ultra program was actually, they were working on that already in Nazi Germany, and then come over and look what starts right after Project Paperclip. They were testing the fluoride, like you said. So glad you brought that up. And now they come over here, and in the 1950s, they enlisted Edward Bernays, the godfather of United States or world propaganda, who wrote the book on it, to run a whole thing on fluoride. And you have to fluoridate your water. And
makes your teeth
4
strong.
out of 5 dentists say that this is good for your teeth and blah, blah, blah. This whole bullshit thing. And then now you have countrywide a huge amount of our communities still to this day fluoridate water. This is all, it's funny, a lot of things happened after World War II. There is a lot to do that.
And again, back to what you're saying, just like, so how do we prevent these types of things? It's knowledge. It's not regulations. It's knowledge. If you give the people knowledge, you don't have to write these regulations that they have to obey. The people just know, oh, fluoride hurts my body. It calcifies my pineal gland, which is my spiritual, cognitive thinking part of my brain. Do you know that's the part that lights up when you're thinking and praying about God and stuff? Why the heck do they want to calcify that? Maybe because there is real evil in the world. So from every angle, guys, you could be like some crazy far off conspiracy land or even just very practical. Trump is making it so people can be making money, so they're not stressed and worrying and stealing, so they can start thinking about future. And guess what? When you're a little more secure, and let's say you have money so you can actually just buy a house or rent comfortably, then guess what? You have a little more time on your hands to what? Maybe think about what's the meaning of life. Maybe think about, oh, I should really be teaching my children better morals. Like, this is a compounding, beautiful, I don't want to even call it a program. Whatever Trump is doing, it is just the most amazing thing. And it's meant to bring us out of this poverty, global control, communist welfare situation and make every American have self-respect for themselves. If they do a good job, they're going to get rewarded. Their boss will see that. Nobody needs welfare. Because look, here's the thing. I've been on food stamps before. That's because we just literally couldn't make a buy. But that didn't mean that my mindset was like, oh, I'm just going to sit and do nothing. But I will tell you, it makes you want to do that. Because look, as soon as I started working and all this stuff and then travel and we have to do this and all this stuff, then it takes almost all your paycheck. So that was a trap to keep people on the welfare. And then like we covered, they removed the middle class. So what is there to work for anyways? And then they weaponized all those people on welfare to say, it's the millionaires. They're the reason. It's the bourgeois. They're the reason. The capitalists, they're taking your wealth. Do you see it? And then Trump says on his True Social, the communists are making their move. I've been waiting for this for a long time. You're seeing it play out. Sorry. I just love what you brought to the table. It's just so cool, guys. It's just the coolest thing. And brilliant. He's freaking brilliant.
And I love the way he said that. You were there. Abby got to see my initial reaction. I was like, oh, that is a you effed up, guys. Like for a long time, like that's written like, please make your move. Yeah. Okay. All right. That is,
we're ready.
And we've all been there. And so I love that. I love that where he's coming from with that. And this guy is building the foundation for regular Americans to bring the ladder back, right? Middle class, working class. That was always the ladder. Right now, they have removed the ladder, and then they have did it like you're saying, where you have to hate everyone who's successful. Everyone who breaks out of this debt monetary system, you're going to drag them back down into the freaking bucket because they're an evil millionaire. And obviously, you only become a millionaire by hurting people, right? And it's like the people who are paying their puppets to tell you that on the news every single night, they're billionaires, they're trillionaires. And I'm not saying even they're automatically evil, but it's just really funny to when you trace back where this messaging is even coming from in the first place. It's like, dude, they are talking to the crabs at the bottom of the bucket and telling them to pull down any of the crabs going towards the top of the bucket.
Yes.
And
the
it's
crab
really
bucket
sad.
thing. So
Yep.
true.
That's what communism does. Any of the people who are successful, anyone who's climbed the ladder, you just pull them down. They're freaking, it's obviously on the backs of the working. Like, dude, there are people who work their ass off. And America is a place where the American dream is if you work your ass off, you can literally become president of the damn United States of America. Okay. You could be literally walking into the Rose Garden and getting ready to give a speech. Do you want to watch the beginning of this?
I would love to.
I love the first, say 5 minutes of this because he's just talking about the different construction. I love construction, Trump. So I don't know. This was enjoyable to me. No, do I have to mute that? I don't even know anymore with copyrights.
I mean, technically, yeah, probably.
Here you go. God bless the
Look how happy
USA.
he is.
Abby, sing it for us. This is what Abby's our resident singer.
Oh, here he goes.
What a nice group. What is that noise? I hear the noise of a crane or something. I love that noise. That means money. Do you hear that? It just started when I started speaking, so I guess they probably don't want to hear. So tonight we have a very special group of people. It's called farmers and ranchers and the people that I love. I love you all. A special, special group. And I want to welcome you to the Rose Garden Club, which is a special place. We just developed it, really. This used to be grass and it was unusable. And I have my friend over there. Did I do a good job in the office with you today? Did I make you satisfied? He's a good man. We've dealt successfully together for a long time. Oh, that's so much better without that noise. Thank you very much for turning that stupid machine off. But I want to welcome you to the Rose Garden Club. It's an incredible place. And this used to be grass, beautiful grass, but it was useless. You couldn't stand it. It was always wet. You know, this used to be a wetland. And the grass was wet. If it rained 7 days before, the grass was soaking wet. And we'd have reporters there. Female reporters would be holding their shoes like this, destroyed, ruined. Men, too. So we finally, after about 150 years, we decided to do something about it. And we put a beautiful stone that matches the White House. And people are loving this whole experience. We never had experience like this. We never had tables. We couldn't do anything. We never had press conference. Now we use it for pretty much everything. It's one of the most active places in the White House. And we're delighted to be joined by some of the hardest working, most dedicated patriots in our country. That's called the American farmers. We have great, great, incredible people.
Amen.
And I love you for a different reason. I think I get about 98% of your vote. At least. We're trying to figure out who the other 2% were. But the country was founded by farmers. 250 years later, you are the growers, the ranchers, the agricultural producers, and you feed the nation and you power the entire world. And tonight I want to just say thank you. And that's why you're here. You're at this very incredible place called the White House. And really, I have a great respect for you people. You built America. You really did.
Yeah.
You feed it and you built it, and you're unbelievable people. And thank you very much. Earlier today in the Oval Office, it was my honor to sign an executive order directing federal agencies to accelerate agricultural innovations that give farmers and ranchers the necessary resources to ensure American crops are the healthiest and the most abundant and the most affordable. And we're always working for the farmer. We want to make it better and easier for you, a lot easier for you. We're pleased to be joined tonight by Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. And Brooke is a friend of mine. And we talk all the time about affordability.
Okay, I'm like, this ain't the one I watched. It's like, all right, this is from 11 days ago. He also, this is it. I'm like, what the frig, dude?
He's like that darn crane. I was like,
Familiar. Awesome.
President of the United States,
There's
Donald.
no bad time to talk about the fact that he has continually worked to pass things for the farmers and the ranchers in our country. And we actually, some of our earlier episodes were really starting to go into some of those regulations that were removed, freeing them up. He also, too, just pardoned, I think it was like 6 more people who were, one of them was from Alaska, who got in trouble for fixing their freaking own equipment.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So,
I remember hearing that. I could not believe that was an actual thing, guys. You get in trouble for fixing your vehicle because you didn't have the specific hired inspector that the federal government said that you had to. And then they would actually get in trouble with the law. I don't know if they went to jail, but
some of them did go to jail. Some of them were going to jail. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. That's scary. But yeah, so way to go. So Trump changed that. Now you can fix your vehicles.
Yep. And man, he did a whole bunch of stuff. It's been,
it was
really,
the farming equipment, right? In particular.
Yep. Yeah. He also right there removed some of those emission sensors that were part of this and part of the shutdowns. The shutdown, the way to pop it is way less, and the shutdowns are way less. It used to just cut down to whatever percentage of power, just enough for you to get home. And now you can finish entire crops first and all these different things, and you can work on your own vehicles. And they really changed that. And now the tractors and stuff don't have to be made right out of the box with some of these things. But here we go. All right, this is from the July 6th. Let's check this out because this is cool.
Wow, has he been great, huh? That's been with me a long time, that song. We won 3 elections with that song. And we have a country that's a much different place than it was just a short while ago. We have the hottest stock market in history. Oh, yeah. We did great the first time. We had the greatest economic numbers ever in history for the first term, and I think we're going to be blowing them away. What do you think, David? Do you agree? Goldman Sachs, David's here. We're going to be blowing them away. These numbers are all over the country. We have factories rising, $19.2 trillion investment. And please sit down, please. I appreciate you standing up. And anytime you want to stand up and cheer, that's okay too. But we have a lot of very big people here. They don't get up and cheer too often, but they're very happy with what's happening, and we're doing very well. As you know, Venezuela was amazing, and we're getting along great with Venezuela. We paid for the war many times over, and Venezuela is doing better. The relationship is very, very good, and we're doing very well with Iran. We wiped out their Navy, their Air Force, their radar, their leaders. We wiped out everybody. And then I heard they're doing very well. No, they're not doing well at all. They want to make a deal so badly. But we'll see what happens. They have to make the right deal because they cannot have a nuclear weapon. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. You want to see a bad stock market? Let them use a nuclear weapon. I'll show you a bad stock market, right? So, but we're doing very well. They've agreed to a lot of things that a lot of people said they wouldn't agree to. We'll see what happens. We're going to win one way or the other. We'll win the nice way or the not nice way. But I want to welcome everybody to the Rose Garden. What you're sitting on, the stone, is sort of a replica of the color of the White House. This was grass, and I love grass, but, you know, the White House was built on a wetland, and the grass was always very wet. And if you were sitting here right now, your shoes would be destroyed. You would be extremely unhappy with me. You'd want to leave. The men wouldn't like it, but the women would, with their beautiful, I won't name the group, but you know who I'm talking about, those extremely high heels. They'd be sinking into, I used to go at the quicksand. It was a quicksand pit. So we've redone it. We built the presidential Walk of Fame, which
Yeah,
starts
that's
with
cool.
George Washington and
Love that.
goes all the way up to Trump. And it's been so popular. We've redone the path. All the stone was broken. It was in terrible shape. And we put beautiful granite pavers in that will last. They said it has a 1,000,000-year life. They go 1,000,000-year plus. They rate stone, 35,000 pounds per square inch. So think of it. Nature makes the stone far greater than we can. There's no stone that we can make. There's no concrete or mix that we can make that's 35,000 pounds.
It usually for most floors for reinforced concrete buildings, 3,500 pounds. So 1/10 of that. And you use the higher mixes we would use for the walls and stuff. And that would be about 10,000. And those were the high power concrete. So the stone is 31,000. Wow.
Per square inch. But it's gotten rave reviews. I don't know if anybody's up and seen it, but this is the walk to the Oval Office and walk to the West Wing. And so we've done a job, and we've taken about 150 years of paint off of the columns and redid them. They were in very bad shape. When you have 150 coats of paint on something, it's not good. You're supposed to, what they call, strip it. I don't use a word like that too easily. I will tell you, in construction, if you don't strip the paint off, it gets worse and worse and worse. And it was looking bad. You couldn't even see the details of what was up here. We very carefully stripped it. Now we're doing it. You notice the scaffolding on the front of the White House we're doing. A lot of love is being put in the White House because, frankly, it was treated very badly by a lot of presidents. Had no idea. The last one definitely had no idea. Do you think he walked in the office and said, I don't like the shape of the columns? I don't think so, Biden. I don't like the shape of the columns. He didn't notice things like that. He didn't notice anything. But we're putting a lot of love back into the White House. This will happen every 200 years or so. You'll get somebody that will bring it back. But if you look at that wall right there, that beautiful wall of the building itself, that's been redone and it's been done beautifully. And the best thing and the biggest thing that we're doing is we're building a ballroom and a tremendous military center. That was supposed to be top secret, but it's no longer top secret because no matter what you do, you get sued. They sue because they think the ballroom's too big, the ballroom's too small. I don't like the color of the ceiling. We don't like, you just get sued. In this world we're living, especially if your name is Trump, you get sued. And you get sort of good at it after a while. It becomes routine, it's ridiculous. But we're building something the likes of which will never be even close to being competed with. The ballroom is going up to there. You see, it's the hardest part is now completed, the base, and it's rising, very substantially rising.
That's cool.
And
So
when it's done,
cool.
the most you can seat is about 93 people in the White House. It was always a problem. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom to be built. We don't have a ballroom in the White House. We have a room that's a little bit large, but it's not a ballroom. It's a very small room. We had King Charles here. Everybody wanted to be here. We couldn't hold anybody. But soon you'll be able to. I think it's going to be one of the most beautiful structures in Washington when it's completed. Yeah. And I've done many ballrooms, and this will be there won't be anything to compete with this anywhere in the country. And that's what it should have. And it'll use it exclusively only for the White House. But it's really what it should have. When you have heads of state, it's also able to hold the inauguration. We had the inauguration was so cold that when you have January 20th, it's so cold, the weather, that generally the first time we got by with it, it was good. It was, like 34 degrees. But the last time it was below zero. And you weren't able. So we used the Capitol, and it's a very small space. It's not safe. It's not, they didn't have drones in mind when they built it. They didn't have other things in mind either. But we were able to get 921 people in, and this will hold many times that numbers of people without the tables as seats.
Okay, yeah. So that's where I want to stop it at. Then he starts going into a little after this. But I like that. I just like when Trump is construction Trump. It's talking about the different projects. He even mentioned the Triumphal Arc that they're going to do. They had a mock-up of it at America 250, which was really cool. But I like that he's talking about the Rose Garden, how they put an actual floor there so they can, hold so they can hold events. At one point, they do show it. Is this it? Yeah. So you can see here that now they can actually put like chairs out, and they can, put tables out, and it's like you can have a brunch where, again, you're not sitting on a wet lawn. I know exactly what he's talking about. And it's cool. And you can enjoy the rose garden and all these different things. So yeah, I love that you're doing that. I love the presidential walk, he said, where they put all the things up, taking the paint off the columns and stripping that out. Hopeful Theorist made a good point here. He said only a builder would know that level of detail. Absolutely. And then again, building the ark, they're cleaning up the reflection pool, which has become a hot topic on either end. It's like, why?
But that's
it's so
fine.
weird, the things they pick to be so mad about. And building the ballroom. So cool. So on top of building the foundation for Americans to reinvigorate the American dream, like we started this show with, and generational wealth, he's also literally just building up the White House. Or like you were pointing out to me last night, he's putting the gold inlays over things.
Oh,
the
my
Oval
Lord.
Office looks beautiful. There were, the gold things over each presidential thing along the walk. It's so great, man. Make America beautiful again. That's what Mr. JT just said. I'm over on Pilled, and I love it. Take pride in where you live.
Amen. And I couldn't help, Brad, my conspiracy mind. He mentions Obama didn't like the shape of the columns. This just reminded me of everything has meaning, as we've been told by Q. And so Trump had put out on his True Social. Is it okay if I share this real quick?
Of course.
All right. So he put this out on his True Social, guys, the 5th. So what we were just watching right there was from the 6th. Okay. He put out 2 pictures. There's nothing that goes along with this post. And it just shows 4 columns and it shows a 5th column. And I remember hearing 5th column in the Q drops. And if you type in 5th column, you're going to get 2 drops. There's this one, post 4626, but then there's this one. And this is specifically about, I believe, Obama, because it says renegade right here. So I believe when he mentions how Obama didn't like the columns, he's basically calling Obama what this is. And what a 5th columnist is a person who secretly aids an enemy group, a nation, or a competitor by acting as an internal saboteur or spy. We've been told often, and just research, that Obama is more than what regular people think he was. The term refers to anyone who works to undermine a larger group, country, or organization from within. So I just love how he mentions Obama didn't like, Obama didn't like those columns.
Yes.
It's like, he's calling him a 5th columnist. He's calling him a traitor. So I just love how Trump has these messages for people who want to pick up on that. But again, he's a builder. He is a builder. And Dan Scavino had put out a video, it was probably a few months ago, of the Rose Garden and of panning out and looking at it. And yes, so he has it's beautiful, like concrete paver ground that does match the White House coming out. There's all these chairs and tables, and just such a wonderful place for people to come out to, like a patio. It's like a big, giant White House patio. Who couldn't love that? And I remember when he was doing that, they're like, he's tearing up the grass.
It's so crazy.
Excuse me?
They're the boy that cried wolf on anabolic steroids. It's wild that everything this guy does. It's actually become kind of funny.
Yep. And eventually the world's just going to have to accept it. Like, again, like the Trump account thing, your child will come out with 4 or 5-fold the amount you invested. It doesn't matter if that was put out by Obama or anybody. Anybody should sign up for that. But just because it's Trump, people think that they can't. I'm telling you, if Obama put something out like that, heck, I'd jump on that. Like, money is money, right?
Exactly.
So it just really shows you people have been programmed to hate everything that's good. So we're here to
the
break that
toxicity
spell.
has been completely spread amongst the minds of our citizens. Now, I think maybe we'll take. I'll do ad here for the middle, but then we'll do a little mid-show after that. Super chat readings, because one of them is going to spawn something that I wanted to talk about. And so I love that they brought that up. But first, well, let's hear from Emerald Med. And I want to share you guys a quick story about a family supporting this channel. Their family had a rare form of cognitive decline due to his military service, made him unable to work. Mother had stopped working too because she couldn't, so she could care for him. Their sons discovered new U.S. Library of Medicine studies on various mushroom blends that could significantly support cognitive function. So they began creating a complex mushroom supplement based on that research, not just to help their own family, but to help others. They nearly quit after multiple setbacks, also having their first batch stolen. But fast forward now, they speak at medical conventions nationwide. The company is called Emerald Med, and the product is massively supports brain, immune, blood, and heart function. Your cognitive function optimizes everything you do. You can get knees, hearts, and kidneys replaced, but you can't get a new brain. So investing in the only brain you have for the rest of your life matters. If you want to support the company that supports our channel plus free speech with their marketing, and you want to try a strong mushroom supplement, they have a deal for America's 250th. Just click the link below and use the code for 30% off today. It's currently the most concentrated mushroom gummy in the United States. It has up to 400 compounds, and it's rich in vitamins and minerals. With 6 formulas in one, it's like getting 6 supplements for the price of one. You can click the link below and try Emerald Med's mushroom gummies for 30% off today. And also, I want to bring this up here. Well, first I want to say shout out to Pilled. There we got Filter Dog 1 saying Brabby rocks. Ohio Kimmy. Throwing a cookie. Also over on YouTube, Don Jackson's The Flow with some jewels over there. It's a cool little system they have.
Thank you.
And I want to bring this up. And again, this is going to spawn our next conversation, which is to say, first, shout out to Red Pill for rating us. Pretty epic. Love you, brother.
Thank you.
Warrior Mima gifting 5 subscriptions. Pretty freaking awesome.
Thank you.
And then we have Sherry K, 47. Hey, guys. Not only does it raise minimum wage, but keeps adults taking low-end jobs and in turn taking jobs from teenagers that want to start working and can't. Right. So that's the Democrats' only solution ever, is to do that, is to keep everything removed, and we'll just raise the minimum wage a little bit. Yeah, you want some minimum wage, right? S. Busen, our friend Susan here says, I'm late. Sorry, I've been looking through Revolutionary War records to make a case for my ancestors who fought in it. Awesome, dude. Yeah. 250 years later. Super cool. That is, what an awesome family trophy to have people fought in the Revolutionary War. And Susan also says, did you see the old Pfizer building in New York is crumbling during the renovation? Looks like it's in danger of collapsing.
What?
As you guys can imagine, due to my prior profession and also my investigations into the Twin Towers, you're about the 4th or 5th person who has either tagged me in something or brought this to my attention, including my brother. And yes, let's go to this right here. This is Niels Hermkins posted this. He goes, so it's a former Pfizer headquarters. That's interesting. Steel structure, high-rise building in Manhattan with damage on 17th and 21st floor. Expected to locally collapse, maybe collapse into itself like a pancake, meaning it's not expected to free fall into its own footprint. Yes. So here's some of the columns that have been buckling. And this is a renovation. I believe they're putting about 11 stories on top of an existing building, and it is now these are in the original building, not the renovation, are starting to buckle. Look at that. And
so they were building on top of it and they were adding to it, and now it's causing, oh no, people, what were you thinking?
Yeah, exactly. Now, some of these buildings can hold it, but obviously they miscalculated the loads the original building was able to hold, because again, this is wild. But check out this quote. from the FDNY Chief of Operations, John Esposito. It says, quote, the way this building is constructed, it's a steel frame building. So it would not be a total collapse. It would be more of a localized collapse. Oh, interesting. That's what we all said about steel frame buildings pertaining to the towers, which did go into a full total collapse weirdly. And then the one that wasn't even hit also followed suit. Totally suspicious. He goes, that remains our concern that it's moving. When asked if that means the building could collapse into itself like a pancake, he goes, possibly. But we all know better. We all know that was him being polite. Okay, so here's the story here. The Midtown building shifting.
Oh,
Look
that
at that
picture is
there.
haunting. It's like, get out. Whoever took that picture, like, get out of there.
Yes, Sal, I wonder if I could send it myself. My brother said he sent me video of it. Okay, yeah, let me see.
Oh,
if I can
for
send this
real?
myself.
Oh, yeah. Eyes on the ground. But yeah, it's interesting that it was Pfizer headquarters again. But
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
just even the idea, just people building houses out here in Alaska. If you're going to build a house, you don't want to just say, oh, there's an old foundation here, I'm going to start building it. No, you're probably going to start from scratch in the beginning. I wouldn't build onto an old pre-existing, but I don't know a lot about construction and building, but it just feels like, you don't know.
To get that approved, you have to have people running those numbers and have proof that they can withstand.
So somebody
And
messed up.
Clearly, either someone messed up or maybe this building wasn't built as to code as they thought. And, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to match. But Sal goes, he said this to me. He goes, how stupid are these people? He goes, I would be the F out of there. He goes, I would have been out of there so effing fast. But they're walking around documenting it. I don't know if there's any volume. Yes. Look at that comment back there.
No.
Look at
Leave.
that guy.
Leave.
Yeah, bro.
What are you
They're
doing
probably
down
going to send
there?
people are going to be tasked to go work there and try and fix it, I imagine. And they should definitely cap that project. That's for sure.
Wow.
And be done with that.
That's
So,
scary.
yeah, that is pretty freaking nuts. And, man, hopefully, we'll keep some good thoughts for anyone who lives in the existing building. I don't know. It might be an office building. But still, yeah, that is some pretty crazy stuff right there.
That's why you got to be a good builder. Know what you're doing.
Yes.
Donald Trump.
Trump the builder. Oh, I love it. I love when he goes through all his construction programs and everything.
Yeah,
He
Brad,
said,
he
they're doing
totally
so much crazy
does.
stuff. Yeah, I
They're
always
like,
geek out
oh,
with that
Trump
stuff.
was doing this and that. I'm like, okay, cool, building stuff. Look, I love building stuff. I can tell it just sparks this giant thing within you because you spent a lot of time doing that. 17 years, right? So yeah, that's just really cool. I love that connection that you guys, you have with him with that and understanding.
I love what you were saying. I may or may not have got a little choked up when the Knicks won the NBA championship, right? And someone informed me that they've only seen me ever get choked up at two certain situations. I don't know if you want me to say, but she was like, you only get choked up at sports now or construction videos.
Dude, legit. And it wasn't even like, so Brad obviously doesn't go around like bawling his eyes out. I'm a pretty emotional person, but he's very steady.
I'm not really a crier, yeah.
And it was something that Trump was doing. And wasn't it on our live stream? And I was just like thinking like, what's going on? Like, or no, it was before. It was when you were editing some stuff.
Yeah, because I was getting like choked up when he was in New York for the court. Stuff when they were trying to screw him, and then all the construction workers came out and showed their support. I don't know, man. It just like brought something back to me. I remember when he first got elected, spray painting in big orange spray paint, Trump on the sheer walls. Everyone was so excited. Dude, that's our guy. That's the New York City construction dude is in the White House. It was so exciting. I would have never guessed this insane TDS trip that has now gone from November 2016. Because I got to tell you, blue collar New York, that's our guy right there.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And yes, so Trump had come out to the workers. I think it was like 4 a.m. in the morning, and he was autographing their hard hats. And there was some great clips of that, by the way. These construction workers
Yeah.
like F Joe Biden, right? But you could see that he was respected, and it wasn't because he was a millionaire. I mean, of course, but it's because he knows that work. It's because he's done that work. It's because he knows the people. He knows what it takes.
Yeah.
He knows the cost of the steel beams and the insulation and the wiring. He knows these things. That's a builder. That's an architect. And he took those principles and he applied it to our country. Like, what the coolest thing ever? Like, that's why about the foundations, about the columns, the pillars. He's fixing our foundation. He's pulling us out of poverty that we were put in by the cabal on purpose, and bringing basically the child care counts is making it so that they'll have a ton of money. Yeah. But it'll make it so that that loop is stopped. So now they are children that are young adults without debt that can have babies because they don't have stress of all these things. It's changing the culture. It's changing the future. And I just love it. I love it. And I didn't even know Trump, guys, until he ran for president. So Brad has this big, long background with Trump before the TDS even existed, when people actually liked Trump before he ran for president, right? So how did it feel to actually see that progress? Like from way back then to like now? It's probably like, it's pretty wild.
It's wild. I mean, I never really thought in those terms, right? He was one of the better people to get a job for in the city, right? Everyone wanted to be on the Trump jobs because all your benefits got paid on time and everything was smooth. And if you needed something, you got it on time, and that all trickles downhill, right? So that starts with the main builder, Trump, and whoever he's partnered up with. And so those were, from that standpoint, it was cool. But just being in around New York then, you'd catch him on Conan. Even in the 90s, you'd see something with him and he'd be interviewed, but he'd always have some knowledge. You could tell this guy was, a bright guy and a fun-loving dude and stuff like that. So I always, liked him as a person, and as someone who I'd want to get a job from is awesome. But it was when he started toying around with running in 2011 for the 2012, because I was like disgusted by what Obama's first term. And man, I don't know if we were watching CNN or something, but I remember standing in the kitchen with my mom, and it was on the freaking TV where Donald Trump is thinking about a run for presidency, and we were like, "That's the guy." Who ran businesses, who has been successful, who has been dynamic, who is a person who actually cares. It's like, that's who we need as a president, not all these talking head, figurehead politicians. And, he didn't wind up running that time, but I'll never forget that. But when he decided he was going to run for real in 2015, so it was only 4 years later, we were like, yes, again, now for real, this is the guy. And haven't looked back, and, oh man, I would have been happy with 1/100th of this. I would have been happy with just a good president, a good right-wing president. What he has done is generational. It's wild. That's why we call this episode Generational Wealth. What he is building are real solutions to real problems.
Yes, this is so glorious. And he's had a plan. So if you say that he was thinking of running back then and it didn't work for one reason or another, that means he had a whole another 4 years to like regroup his thoughts and come out with the ultimate game plan, which he did. And which he even tells us to this day that there is a plan. Clearly, you don't just, all these good things just happen and just systematically work out perfectly and compile on each other perfectly so that we can break out of this cabal system. No, he planned it. He wargamed this. His take on foreign policy, babe, when I've watched those videos when he's young, he was smart. He was like this young kid, guys. He was like young looking. And he's like, oh yeah, no, we got to fix Iran, blah, blah, blah. He was going on. And I thought the knowledge this man has, he would have had to have done political, foreign. He would have had to do a lot of research and understand global policies, economics, everything.
Yeah.
And he knew it back then. So like now he's in the, it's just amazing. And really at the end of the day, guys, when I look at all of these things, it's so perfectly put into place that I believe God's hand has been behind all of it. There's no way that this was just random. I believe that our hearts as patriots were calling out to God. We have been for a long time. We knew Obama was an antichrist. He really was. He's antichrist. And we needed to break out of this system of just death, destruction. He was bringing in the Muslim, he's Muslim Brotherhood. Let's just be honest about it. He was arming people to destroy us. Like, you know how many things that Trump has been monitoring and fixing all at once? It's like playing like 5D chess. He's like got all these areas, and somehow he's systematically, continually pinging and working and chipping away to make us free. And me and Brad track it the best we can, but guys, there's so much. It's wild. It's wild to watch. And yes, to finish that off with Brad, the crew that's always like, Trump ain't doing anything.
Anna.
Excuse me? He definitely
the
is.
same crew that was like, oh, Biden's actually on our side, and Maduro's actually on our side, and all the worst people are actually on our side. But Trump, he's not doing anything, though. It's like, okay, have fun. I don't know what to tell you. Like, dude, it's down to the littlest things. Again, like we were talking about earlier in the show. He understands the potential for something like this. Something as simple as opening up Pell Grants to the quote tool belt generation. That's something that is, again, going to work with all this other stuff, but it's going to really reinvigorate the blue collar work field. This is something that was also, we talked last week about some of the things coming to fruition from the big, beautiful bill, the working families tax cuts. And this is something that was in that bill last year. It just went into effect July 1st. So last week. And again, Pell Grants were typically just for long-term things. They weren't for short-term certificate of workforce training programs, just college. But now low and moderate income students will be able to get them for trade school. Freaking huge, man. So it's just down to those
trade
type
schools
things.
Where it's at.
Yeah, dude, honestly, it's funny. There are some liberals in the comments who are like, oh, they just want you to be a slave to work for their, do their slave labor. It's like, dude, you guys have no idea how ironic and backwards that statement is. That is freedom, dude. You need a populace who knows how to do things. You need a place like where I live in a place right now where most of these houses are built by the people who lived in them. My dad built our house. It was basically a burnt out house that they bought because it was all they could afford. And him and my uncles, over the first 5 years of us living after moving to New Jersey, 5-10 years, I don't even know how long, stripped down every single thing. They redid every pipe, redid every freaking wire. And as I told you, my dad, when I took that electrician course, they redid every piece of sheetrock, every floorboard, everything. Insulation. He turned the attic he put in a staircase, turned into 2 rooms for us. It's because of people who knew the trades. My Uncle Jackie, my Uncle Vinny were union plumbers. My dad, again, he went and he knew electricity. They also, between a lot of them, my other uncles too, they all just knew how to build houses and things like that. Those things are slipping away, and this is going to reinvigorate it. Huge.
Oh yeah, I agree. And I love that you have all that background, just like hardworking people. Most of us, like, we believe in the idea, you do a good job, you get paid good. That's why I can't remember what the title was. Remember where they'd give jobs to people just because they were a different skin color? What was that called?
Oh yeah,
DEI or something?
Yeah, well, DEI too, but the specific thing was affirmative action.
Yes.
Yeah.
That ruins the structure of, if you do a good job, you're going to get rewarded for it. That created this racism, that created all these things. And it just reminds me of like Trump, how he mentioned William Carney in the 4th of July speech. What that points to, the Q post, it says that Old Glory does not see or care or know what skin color carries her, only for that for which it stands, which is one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all, life, pursuit of happiness, all of these wonderful things. That's what it stands for. And so Trump is destroying that. And that's not racist to destroy that. That means I don't care if you're black, if you're Asian, if you did a good job, then you get the job. That's it. And so we are coming out of a terrible system, like the psychological long-term damage that did to the young people from that time, like it's about my age on. You participated, so everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
That destroys capitalism, that destroys competition, that destroys vision. It just destroys everything. Any part of your soul that goes, I want to improve myself spiritually, mentally, physically, financially. It robs anything that's good, and it just makes you settle with just sitting on your couch receiving your welfare. Yep. Humans are not meant to live like that, guys. And Trump is just, I think he just flipped the table, honestly. If I had to put it in a sketch, he was just like, oh yeah, playing that game? Welcome to Trump game, biatch. Which is awesome. We need that. Because also the people we're facing, like he said before, is a high level chess game. He goes, this isn't Jasmine Crockett and her little group. These are high intellectual, smart, global leaders. He even says sometimes they're vicious, sometimes they're violent, but they're smart. And this is what Trump is doing. He's standing between us and them, and he's doing the moves that we, the people, want him to do and they're consenting him to do. And it's just a glorious time to be alive, man. So cool.
Yeah. It is very cool to watch. It's fun to talk about. And this place is getting put right again. So that's very cool. And again, I like that it's big picture stuff. It's all this, he could be going for the quick headlines. He could have gone for that. It's what a lot of politicians typically do. But no, he implemented, again, one of the things that's starting to come to fruition now is the tariffs. And look how much manufacturing is coming back. Look how many jobs it's opening up, high-paying jobs. He caught a lot of slack for that. And so he could have done something that, okay, we'll get rid of the tariffs and we'll do this, and it'd be a little more automatic, but it wouldn't be lasting. This guy's like, I don't care. You guys can say whatever you want to me, and I'm going to do it. And this is going to reverberate for generations past President Trump. So that is someone who is pretty tough right there. Now,
I agree.
We also have, so I have this next thing. We have a positive thing and then, kind of not positive thing. Which one should we go to? Should we go to the...
They always say to end with the positive, Brad.
Okay, so...
I mean, I think...
So this will just to mention this and cover this. Today was day 2 of the 5-day preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson, and who shot Charlie Kirk. Well, allegedly shot Charlie Kirk. You and I did a lot of covering this in the beginning, and there's a lot of potential things it could have been. I personally wound up being pretty convinced that the kid actually did kill him, or that he was brought there via like MK Ultra, Voice of Skull, as some sort of patsy, right? And they had some professional take the shot. I think that's possible too, but for the most part, there's video of him going to the roof. There's video of him jumping off the roof. I remember we were saying, "Where's the rifle? Where's the rifle?" And then in real time, and people were like, "Red Pill just went over that." And if you look really close, you can see the outline of what he's dropping down with. Does look like it has a rifle. And we looked, and it was like in real time, we're looking at him like, oh, okay, it does kind of look like a rifle. There's video of him walking there. There's video of him leaving. I think I personally, and you guys can debate in the comments, right? Because it is healthy to discuss these different things. I don't know. I do personally think it was this Tyler Robinson kid, which does point to this problem of radicalizing our young adults. And I think that's the conspiracy on it, is that what are we doing to these kids? We're making them think it's okay that having political debate on the other side of the aisle is so bad that you're going to commit violence, regardless of, and again, even if people don't think that he committed it, he still is a kid who thinks this is okay. And he doesn't seem to be, they're saying in court, he has no emotion, doesn't care. The way people are talking about him, the way his, partner, the transgender that his partner's with, says that he was talking about killing allegedly. So I think that is a huge problem. I also kind of think the way Erica Kirk, we don't need to make a big grandstand about this. I've already said my piece on my ex, over times. I think it's kind of like weird the way Erica Kirk is being treated throughout this. I get that she's probably reacted every way you could. Some people say she cried too much. Some people were like, hey, why was she, seen smiling on podcasts? And everyone deals with stuff different ways, and she's probably covered every emotion. So I don't know how to take it. All I know is, we're supposed to protect the widows. And this is Charlie Kirk's wife. If you love Charlie Kirk, should probably give her a little grace. That's just my own personal thing. But apparently she left during testimony here. And this is day 2.
The week-long preliminary hearing for Charlie Kirk's accused assassin, Tyler Robinson, is underway, bringing him face-to-face with Charlie's parents and his widow, Erica, for the first time.
Chanley Painter was inside the courtroom in Utah yesterday, and this morning she's outside the courthouse ahead of today's hearing. Chanley, what do you have for us?
Hey, good morning, Todd and Ashley. That's right. There was a strong showing of support for the Kirk family at this courthouse yesterday. As I was actually waiting in line to enter the courtroom, I saw Erica Kirk. She walked past. She was holding hands with Charlie Kirk's mother. His father was close behind them as they entered the same room for the first time with Charlie's accused killer. The group of family and supporters, including Donald Trump Jr., took up the first 2 rows of the gallery.
So that
also
was
in
cool
court,
that
the
he
parents
went
of
there.
Tyler Robinson, who sat in the row directly behind me with some relatives. And as court began, Erica appeared very emotional, at times wiping tears with a handkerchief, at one point laying her head on Charlie's mother's shoulder. The first witness, Chris Bagley, was on duty at Utah Valley University that day. And as he began to describe hearing the gunshot and seeing Charlie fall, Erica Kirk immediately stood up, and several others followed her out of the courtroom. Bagley then went on to testify about racing to that gravel roof where prosecutors believe Robinson fired that fatal shot.
To me, when I got up there and I could see this disturbance in gravel, to me it looks like a sniper pad, a person that has been laying in a prone position, and you've got markings of elbows, knees, and feet to where somebody was in the line of sight of where Charlie's tent was.
The lead investigator, David Hull, also took the stand yesterday, where prosecutors showed videos of the shooting that were so graphic only the judge and lawyers were allowed to watch them.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So apparently there are even others. I mean, the ones that were circulating, oh my gosh, dude, I never want to see that again. In fact, and a lot of it was unexpected. I remember just being like, short, boom, whoa, I did not want to see it. It's like a Faces of Death type stuff. It's like there's used to be warning on some of these things. And that was a super sad day. That really affected me. But it makes me, the angle I was looking at with this is spawned on by this post by Gator Gar, which I didn't know that he used to be a liberal, but I think this is a problem. He goes, when I look at Tyler Robinson, I see the exact same people I was shoulder to shoulder with at the Black Lives Matter protests. He goes, that's right. I was a young liberal. I went with my peers. I hung out with them after we tore down statues. I know what they talked about and what they believe. They're violent, hateful, brainwashed psychopaths who think their weird Reddit communities are real life. So what do you have to say to that? Because I think it's been boiling over as the only violence, political violence, is overwhelmingly coming from the left.
Every time. And when eventually the public will understand that the D's, the left liberal thinking is the enemy of the people. So I guess this is something I was thinking, okay? I research all these things that the CIA did on these poor, unwitting citizens, right? The MK Ultra operations, Project Artichoke, the idea of a Manchurian candidate, wiping away their brain, depatterning them, reprogramming something in them so they can be triggered to kill, right? That's programming. Now, our children watch television programming with CNN, having Hillary Clinton on going, he is a threat to our democracy, having all these high up officials, Trump is a dictator, having the president of the United States at the time, Joe Biden, say, he is a threat to our country as a whole. When is that not mind, brainwash? Because this one is way more intense, and they're being held down and they're being forced drugs and all this stuff when they're programming them in the MK Ultra program. But this is still the same thing, guys. Like I'm saying, where does that line blur? Because someone like him, if he's going to Black Lives Matter protests, I have a feeling that a lot of those things have been funded by the very groups that say they were against it. For example, Brad, you did a great take when you looked into the Southern Poverty Law Center. The very people that were fighting these far right, I don't even know what they call them, Hitler groups, were funding them. They were funding them. I wonder if that kind of thing happens in any other of these other groups, right? What about Black Lives Matter? Who funded that? And it was to what? Make the whole world think that Black lives were more important than white lives. That is brainwash. So when I literally see someone like Tyler Robertson or whatever, I'm not saying he's innocent. Okay, he did that. But I would put my foot on that. He is a victim of brainwash, of mind control. He is. Yeah. Because the whole population in America and the world was put through this thing saying that Trump was a dictator. He was going to bring World War III. We were going to get nuked. All this stuff. And it was all lies. And so that's brainwash. That's mind control. And so when I see the skater guy, I'm so glad that he got out of that. But he sees it. They're violent. They're hateful. They're brainwashed psychopaths. And they believe that these Reddit communities are real life. And that's just a brilliant way to put it. So that's why, in the Bible, it says, be very careful what you put in your mind. What are you dwelling upon? What are you taking in? Because what you repeat over and over again in your mind will start to believe you.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, take control of that, understand. And that's the thing with the young people. We really do have to watch our young people. Me and Brad are having a great conversation about young kids and the phones. Look, we want everybody to have freedoms. Okay, I get it. But do you give your young baby a pistol? No. Okay. Will the baby, when they grow up, 18, they could, yes, and they can have their gun. But there's times, right, to expose and not expose. We're giving our children these phones, and these phones are mind control weapons. They can also be used for great. They could be used for teaching about the gospel and Jesus Christ and the truth and the light. But they can also be teaching sin and corruption and communism is good. And next thing you know, your baby's playing a video game and an ad comes on. So we have to be careful. So the whole point was, me and Brad were like, man, maybe they should put rules. Kids can't have a phone like that.
I feel like we might have to eventually. It's not working, man.
And that's a strong stance. But it's just we got to do something to protect them, Yeah,
it's creating, it's turning them into dopamine addicts. They don't realize, they're getting that hit. So I don't know what's the answer, but I think something might have to be done. Now, again, to what you're saying, that makes me think of this. You're talking about how they're funding, and we know that a lot of these things are funded both sides. The extremists on both sides are getting money from these places. But this is interesting. Anna Polina Luna was saying, what I find out about the Patriot Front, right? They had all showed up at DC for the 250th, is how under the Biden, they were never investigated. Well-funded, never investigated. FBI under Biden looked into Catholics instead. Remember that? And you and I were talking. There was actually a bill where to feed the homeless, you weren't allowed to mention anything religious. Well, where I come from, New Jersey, most of the people who are feeding the homeless are the Catholic churches, or even or just Christian groups. So, one, you're actually harming the homeless by this policy, right? And two, you're hitting them. So that's very interesting that they went after that, but none of these groups. She goes, so looks like GOP oversight should do some digging. And I saw her also even more clearly call for that. Now, there's many angles to this. Listen, every time I talk about the Patriot Front, there's someone in the chat being like, well, they're so in shape and you're fat. Well, they're so in shape. I'm so glad that there are people who are really love how in shape the Patriot Front are. Like, well, that sounds like you got other problems going on there. But this is almost assuredly a psyop at this point. Okay. But there's two ends of that. They're there usually to cause strife, right? Now, say like some in Washington, D.C., they're showing up. They're not causing any strife there, right? Because that was turned into a right-wing protest. So they just go show up there. But then there's also times where they've been busting to like things that we agree. I don't think there should be parades for sex stuff. So like a gay parade, I think that should be made illegal to have any sort of celebration of a sexual fetish or a sexual orientation out in the public square. I do agree with that. But these guys showing up and fist fighting with everyone there is totally the wrong way to do it. And then it gives the fake news all the fodder they need to then shut down any kind of actual legislative or real change that someone's trying to make. This is a way to brand it. So that's why I think a lot of these people, I think they are a psyop. Now, this latest one has spawned a whole other thing that I don't think they were expecting. There's been all these different people who are like showing this picture here of this black lady on the bus surrounded by the evil white supremacist. Well, I gotta say, I gotta give the Patriot Front little props. No one's even looking at her. It's probably the safest this lady's ever been. Okay?
No one's stabbing her in the chest.
No
and
one's
by the
stabbing
way,
her in the chest, right?
that woman pooped on that subway before. Did you guys see that video?
So this is who this lady is.
Okay.
So that's been kind of funny. So it is highlighting the dynamic of even around the violent extreme right wing, you're still freaking safe. Here again, here's a lady sitting, no one's bothering her. They're not bothering this lady. There was another picture of a black guy on the train, no one bothered them. So it is causing actually that conversation. So hey, some good came out of the Patriot Front. Who knew? But look at this. Everyone is getting ratioed into the freaking oblivion. This the New York Post, and this is a right-wing thing.
Are you sharing it?
5,000 replies. Okay, yeah. 5,000 replies to 800 likes. So everyone I've seen so far who's tried to be like, and then the evil white supremacists surrounded the poor black woman. They're like, oh, you mean like Iriana? It's like people are putting things where it's like, here's a white woman on a train of black people getting murdered. And here's what it's like to be a black woman on a train of white people. It's totally freaking ignored. So they've caused that freaking conversation.
Yeah, they probably didn't intend for that.
And also, this woman is completely unbothered. Who the frick cares? Who even cares? And I don't like the Patriot Front. They were introduced to the world with them accidentally leaking a video of them sig heiling and be like, I can do that now. The video's over. Oops, we freaking accidentally leaked it. I guess us right wingers are white supremacists, Nazis. You got us. Like, give me a break. That's fake as shit. Now, for the people who don't know, the Patriot Front is born out of a schism from another white supremacy group that was at the Charlottesville riots, which was funded the Charlottesville Unite the Right fiasco, which was organized by a former Obama supporter who was now right wing, wink, wink. He brought a whole bunch of different white supremacy groups there, one of which being that had a falling out, a fight amongst their leadership immediately following what happened in Charlottesville and splintered off into the Patriot Front. Okay, so they're born out of the Charlottesville white supremacist psyop that happened, that literally has now been proven that one of the organizers was directly funded by the Southern Poverty Law Center, or at least it's alleged in this indictment, which I'm pretty sure means that they know for a fact that's what was going on, as a field source, Southern Poverty Law Center. So that's how they started. And then they were really introduced to the world a couple years later in 2021 when they leaked the footage of one giving a Hitler salute. Oh, yeah. Okay. As they're totally in line with all the bullshit they sell to us. So you cannot convince me that this isn't being run by total freaking plants who are then sucking people into their psyop the same way Black Lives Matter and all these things. They're started by these plants with bad intentions, and they get people with good intentions, and they bring them in and turn them into extremists.
Well, that's something I have to say. So they were called Vanguard before they broke off, and
Vanguard,
that did have
that's
the
what it was.
connections. Yep. Now, when I was researching it, just like the other day, it was actually spawned off from that post from Luna. I got a little deeper into the group and wanted to know who funded them, right? And of course, you can't find the funding. It's always indirect. However, people that were in that group mention, so you know how they're all wearing the same glasses and the same face cover and the same things? Yeah. You have to buy it through the Patriot Front group, which they double, some people said even triple the price. So the sunglasses, this and that. Okay. So they're highly funding it through the people that are joining. They appeal to them saying, I don't know, pretty like white supremacy racist stuff. But then what happens is they get in the group and they're kind of stuck in the group. So I'm not saying that, look, I don't think we need to be masked and be a Patriot Front. But the whole point was, as I was like, okay, well, then where is these supplies coming from that they have to buy? Because it reminded me, Brad, of when you broke into the Southern Poverty Law Center issue. They were literally giving them money to go make crosses and burn them. Okay. Yes. So there's funding that's coming out, and these people are wearing the same outfits and stuff. Again, they do pay for it, but who is providing this? Where is this coming from? And, you know, I really think I bring up the Southern Law Poverty Center situation because it is now a proven proof that people that said they were against racism were actually causing it. So now we can take that model of the deep state, global cabal, whatever model, Marxist, communist people, and apply that to maybe Black Lives Matter is that way. Mm-hmm. Maybe Free Palestine is that way. They all have the same printout flags. Even that thing at Mondami's thing, guys, they had signs that said communism is good. And they all matched. And they were all perfectly printed off, these perfect little woodcut picket things. No. That's not organic. Somebody's funding it, but somebody's smart and covering their tracks. And that's how they did it with the Southern Poverty Law Center. Guarantee it's happening. And I love Luna for bringing that up. Freaking, she's my spirit animal. She's going through, dude, if you guys don't follow her, she's going through everything. MK Ultra, UFO UAP. She's the chair of the board there of the oversight committee, looking into JFK's assassination. It's all connected.
Yeah, she's involved in a lot of cool stuff that's going on. So, you know, shout out, man. Absolutely cool. And she is calling for an investigation into the Patriot Front. Yeah, I found another one. This is one of the ones I first saw with CBS. 3,000 to 9,000, dude. They're all getting ratioed into oblivion right now with this stupid stuff. It's like, dude, miss us with your stupid PSYOP group. That's why it existed. That's why they were sent there. And, you know, that's why their leadership, we're going to go to D.C. and they get there. Reuters is the one who took the picture of the lady on the train. Why was Reuters with the Patriot Front? Okay.
Good point.
What is going on that people can't see through these different things? But yeah, dude, Anna Polina Luna's kicking ass, dude. Yeah, with the UFO stuff, There's so many things. It's wild. Donald Trump is doing so many freaking things that they have released what a freaking 100 official UFO videos straight from the government of the United States that they've been saving since the 40s. And everyone's like, oh, cool, whatever.
Guys,
You know?
I was reading a thing about the Foo Fighters last night. Like, these things are, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. That's the same way when I went into the declassified files in MK Ultra. Whether you believe it or not, the men writing this, the generals, the colonels, the messages back to Eisenhower, that happened. That happened. They're
They
talking
believed it.
about
They believe it.
national security. We need to investigate more into these Foo Fighters, or that was earlier. But as we go on into American history, continuous. This has been an ongoing thing. And that's just one thing. Then they had their mind control programs and all these things. So it's really wild. And then just to cap it off with the Patriot Front thing there, the reason why they do this and fund these guys and bring them out and they have American flags is it's to set up, and I pray that doesn't happen, but it's to set up false flags. Look, it's those American Patriot Front people, and they just kind of mix it all with MAGA. And they're all just a threat. No. And that's why, Brad, I remember you early on, you're like, no, we have nothing to do with those people. And then these people come under our comments, guys. You know, if you stand up for what's right, evil will find you, and you just push back on it. And they're like, oh, what, you don't like real men pushing back and saving the country? It's like, bro, I got God, I got Jesus, and I got Trump. He's a real man doing it the right way. Okay. So these guys, no, they're not good news. I'd say if you saw anyone from the Patriot Front, go the other way.
False flag. It's a false flag. And I feel sorry. I imagine the majority of the members are normal people who have gotten sucked in right there. And I feel bad for them because that is a false flag. And that's what the community, that's what the conspiracy theory community does, the truther community. There are lots of toxic traps that they're always trying to, like, oh, you found out one conspiracy theory is true and came to my page, didn't you? Well, did you know about the blanks or the this? Or, you know, they're always trying to corral people into these just toxic dead ends that turn them into psychos or make them look horrible and just make it easy for the deep state to, you know, nuke you into orbit. Now, speaking of the deep state and something that has gone on 10 years now, we have a pretty big update pertaining to Seth Rich. So first I'm going to tell you guys about Emerald Red, and then we're going to talk about something effing awesome. This is some cool stuff right here. But first, I want to take 60 seconds to shout out a brand that supported Rumble creators for a while. It's Emerald Med. They make CBD products from hemp, but there's things that you may not know. Instead of using one crop, they actually use 3 different hemp strains because no one strain contains every compound they wanted. They combine hot and cold processed extracts, since some hemp compounds are activated by heat while others are damaged by it. On top of that, they use raw extracts from preserved minor compounds, trace minerals, and micronutrients that are typically lost. Their CBD oil alone has 6 to 9 raw batches blended into it. Instead of 1 to 10 compounds, they have up to 50, over 50 actually, compounds. A lot of brands talk about freedom and they wave the flag only when it's trendy. Emerald Med was using their company to fight for people's medical freedom during COVID while getting bank accounts shut down, plus tires slashed for it. They put money every year into fighting laws that limit access to health alternatives. They often say that they want to make products so effective that Helen Keller can see the difference. I love it. Nothing is a cure-all, but it's worth a try. Maybe they can help you feel 30%, 60%, even 80% better. Maybe it's enough to help support you while sleeping well. Maybe it's enough to help support you, give you a few hours a day of not feeling awful. Maybe it's enough to just be able to do things like you used to. They're celebrating America's 250th, and you can click below or scan the QR code right now to try them at discount today. Check it out. It's Emerald Med. And thank you guys. And we are...
Thank you.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to give the Seth Rich update right after this, I'm going to do one more thing here. Actually, I'm going to share this on screen because this is from our friend Season Pixels. Love this dude.
Yay!
Always have for a long time.
So good to see you.
And he is saying, attention foxholders, Pilled V54.95 introduces Pilled XP for everyone. Update and have fun. I will be here to answer questions all night. And I did see he was in chat earlier, and I'm glad you broke down what that was because I wasn't 100% sure what you're talking about. And that's cool, man. So definitely go jump over and give him a call. Give him a
follow
question if you got it. I'm in many places. So right on and shout out Season Pixels. And now to this. This is from Ty Clevenger, which he is spent nearly a decade aggressively litigating FOIA requests for the FBI and DOJ records on the 2016 murder of Seth Rich. And, we all know Seth Rich. Here we go.
There's 10 posts about Seth Rich.
A staffer who was murdered. And they believe that he is the one who, got the files out for Hillary and the servers, and I believe the Podesta emails as well. But he says that an attorney for government has actually told him that they will soon be getting confirmation of several hundred pages of documents related to Seth Rich found in previously hidden room in the FBI headquarters. In fact, actually, you know what? Let me read this whole thing. And he says, this is the update. Today, an attorney for the government told me that I will soon be getting confirmation that several hundred pages of documents related to Seth Rich were found in a previously hidden room at FBI headquarters. You got to love those hidden rooms, right? You may recall that on July 30th, 2025, Fox News Digital reported that newly installed FBI Director Kash Patel, who's been killing it, and his leadership team had located an unmapped / sealed area within the J. Edgar Hoover building SCIF. Last year's Fox report described burn bags that contained thousands of pages of classified files intended for destruction, and those files were linked back to the 2016 Crossfire Hurricane investigation. Now it appears that Seth Rich records were among the files designated for destruction. Massive.
Wow.
He goes, now, mind you, and now this is a good caveat that he puts here. He goes, mind you, I don't have anything in hand yet. I don't even know whether the FBI will agree to release a single page of what is found. Nonetheless, any confirmation that the files were in the secret SCIF raises a lot of questions. At the very least, some very high-level people had something to hide, right? Getting rid of it. You don't get rid of mundane evidence, guys. It doesn't happen that way. So he goes, the FBI originally told me in 2017 that it had no records whatsoever about Seth Rich because it was not involved in the investigation of his death. We were told he died in a botched robbery, and only the local police were investigating it. Since that time, the FBI has gradually admitted to possession of several thousand pages of documents about Seth Rich, his work laptop, an image of his personal laptop, and another DVD. Nonetheless, on June 15th, 2026, I had to file yet another motion explaining how the FBI is withholding records in violation of court orders. If the FBI is still fighting transparency so hard on other fronts, and it is, then why would it acknowledge that records about Seth had been hidden in the SCIF? I don't know. Maybe Joe Geneva's grand jury investigation in Miami is putting some heat on players in D.C. I like that. He goes, I can tell you this much for sure. Nobody in Capitol Hill has been willing to touch this subject with a 10-foot pole. The murder of Seth Rich and the resulting cover-up is as radioactive as any topic I've ever seen. I hope that changes soon, and I'll post updates as soon as I know more. By the way, I'm not suicidal. So, dude.
Nice.
That is freaking awesome. And that could potentially lead to some really big disclosure.
I agree. And the only place I knew of Seth Rich was from the Q posts, and he's mentioned 10 times. And it's in reference to quite a bit of things, Brad. When you were talking, I was scrolling through some of these. Like this one, for example, was the DNC hacked by Russia? CIA Brennan Force? Seth Rich internal DL hand-to-hand pass USA? CrowdStrike code inserts was talking about, there's a part where it talks about, okay, he's a patriot. I think it's right down here in the bottom.
Yep.
Seth Rich only mentioned because it directly relates to Saudi Arabia, Las Vegas, the hotel, the reported gunfire occur from, what floors specifically. And this goes to a lot of these things that happened in the past. Who funds MS-13? Why did Barack Obama instruct HS and BP to release MS-13 captures at the border? Wow, I didn't even remember that. This part. Who do you hire for a hit? Who can be eliminated after the job is complete? Seth Rich, who was found dead, dead shortly after his murder. What affiliation did they have? Classified. So there's a lot of stuff still unknown. But
there were two people that were found dead right after that. People wonder if they're the ones that did the hit.
I
remember that. It's been a while. Sometimes it's hard to, trying to pull up things from 8-9 years ago. But yeah.
Well, I was going to say, what I base all of my data on Seth Rich being a whistleblower that did release some kind of information is to an interview that Julian Assange did, where this man that's interviewing him is trying to, Seth Rich goes, not Seth Rich, Julian Assange goes, WikiLeaks is created for whistleblowers to come forward and talk about the corruption. And he goes, and sometimes they get afraid, like that murder that happened in DC a week ago. And the man interviewing him goes, was he taken out? And then Julian Assange like, well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you got to be careful, And the next thing that happens is John Podesta's emails are released on WikiLeaks. Hillary Clinton being mentioned in those emails, stuff to do with child trafficking or child abuse, words, references, pizza, right? This is old, but this is the beginning. And so the idea, this isn't based on the Q post, this is just based on what Julian Assange said on the interview. I don't know if I can find it in time, but he believes that he was taken out because he turned over some information to show the corruption in our government. And that's why Q says he was a patriot. He did the right thing. Seth Rich saw something, and instead of turning the other way or, I didn't see it, he did the right thing. And he died for it. But man, if we can get the truth about it, he could be justified. We could have some closure with this. And it'll be wonderful because that really does connect to the deep state players we talk about often. Hillary, the Clintons, John Podesta, Huma Abedin. That connects to Soros's. That connects to Southern Poverty Law Center. Guys, it all is one. It's all one.
It's all webbing together.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Wow.
So freaking true. So that'll be interesting to see. I have a feeling they will release some of them. I do. And they're probably going through them right now. It's kind of the same thing where a lot of things that have been found where they say we found these. And then 1 week later, everyone's like, where are they? It's like, hi, guy who never reads anything, who take you 8 years to read 5 of these documents. They're going through. They got to go through them. You got to make sure, you're not giving up national security things. This was some of the topic that we talked about last week on the call-in section. And by the way, we'll be doing a quick little call-in afterwards on my Rumble channel at Brad CGZ, where we're going to go all after the show. And, that'll be a separate thing that I post during the outro. But that was part of our thing last week where we're talking about the privacy. Like, where's the line end? Because I want disclosure on freaking everything. But then there is an argument to be made. Well, you actually do need to protect some things for national security. So it's just that push and pull, man. Where does it come? Because at times there's been times in our country's history where everything is kept from the stupid public who can't handle anything about anything. I think that is absolutely wrong. But then there's also right now pushes to declass every last thing on planet Earth. And it's like, well, that could totally backfire as well. So I don't know. It's kind of that push and pull, right?
I feel like we did find that good in between where I think it's good to declassify truths that just the earth should know. Like, let's say the UAP, what, you know, if there's things that have to do with national security that are secrets, but not lies, that's okay. But we want to declassify lies, like fake truths that have been told to the public. That's what we want declassified. Heck, like what we said, I don't want anyone giving out the nuclear codes. You know, I don't want it, not because then if everybody knew everything, then the whole world will fall apart. There's a reason for us to have the right to privacy, to be comfortable in our own homes, to protect ourselves. This is natural. So I think that fine line is we want the truth from the false lie, you know, from the lies that were told to us. We want the truth from that. But as far as, you know, national security things, I think that, yes, we do have to do that to protect our wonderful country. So it's a good in between. But I do believe Trump is going to eventually, I mean, they're already doing it now. You go to the White House website on YouTube, they're telling you the true history. Like they went through the Boston Tea Party. They say, you know, the universities will teach you that this was a riot that happened and it was a crazy riot and we ran down to the ships and we were throwing tea over like a bunch of crazy. No, it was secret, it was coordinated, and it was to show that we will not be taxed even secretly without our acknowledgement. We threw that overboard. A lot of money worth, by the way. It was a principle.
They dressed up like Indians, right?
They dressed up like Indians, but they were very secretive and they didn't make a sound. They poured the whole tea in the ocean while right across there was a pier coming out where the British, there was also a bunch of the other ships that were there. They didn't see them. They were so quiet. And so my whole point is we're taught history one way, but Trump is wanting to teach the truth. Yeah. And because history is written by the victor, if the victors we've had for a while, like Obama, is really with the Muslim Brotherhood, well, guess what? You're going to get a false history. But if you have a patriot in the position of this, the seat of this high land, he wants to tell you the truth. And that's what I'm excited for, just the truth. And you know me, Brad, I'm freaking out about the UFO, UAP stuff. Like, let's go. I want the truth, man. Who couldn't want the truth for that? So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Oh, dude, yeah, that stuff is cool, and I've been waiting for that to come out for so long. And it's funny, I tell myself, because then I hear things and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, wait a second, sir, this is what you've been waiting for 20 years. But it's like there's so much other stuff going on, right? And there's so much just tangible fixing our country and kicking out a corrupt globalist oligarch who has definitely taken us over. So very much that is at the forefront of my thinking. But yeah, it is. The UFO stuff's fun. What was the name of the movie we watched last night? We watched a cool UFO movie.
Oh, it's called Nope.
Oh, Nope. Yeah, the dude from Key and Peele. Yeah, made it. But it was really cool. I like the concept of it. I won't spoil alert, but yeah, I thought that was a pretty fun movie and about UFOs and stuff like that. And I'll tell you what, man, if I was from another planet, I was coming to observe Earth, I would have came down to Washington, D.C. on July 4th because the America 250 Independence Day celebration really was the craziest, awesome celebration freaking ever. And we're going to talk about that, and that'll probably bleed into the call-in section as well. But do you have that video where the person's like right under the fireworks, the person who's putting it together?
Do.
Oh, we have to.
I have it right.
So badass.
Here. All right. So this is the one, right? The very, very close-up one?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So this is put up by Hunter Eagleman. He says, talk about a banger for America's 250th. Props to Pyrotechno. So these are the people that put on the show for the world's largest firework display.
They set the Guinness Book of World Records with it. They
really?
So it's like in the books, the largest celebration ever.
Let's go. So this was the behind the scenes of the people, the pyrotechno people that actually set it up. Check this out. I think it's awesome, but I don't think I would want to be this close. How it started.
That's so cool, dude. Look at that. You're watching. I said it. I think I said it either a week or two ago on air. This is going to be the first year that I actually stayed home and chilled for the 4th of July. You know, and
I can't
there's
even
always
hear
things
you.
to do. Oh, sorry. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Happy 250th America. Sorry, babe. I just couldn't hear you. Those fireworks are so loud.
That was awesome, dude. It's cool. We used to put on fireworks shows in my cousin's town, and I think it's called Mount Marion, New York. It's like right by where Woodstock was, within a half hour up there. And, we would just light it. We'd have 3 pallets, and me and my brother, one of my cousins, we'd take turns lighting them. Right. So it was pretty continuous regular show. But for the finale, I would fuse together and time out fuses and have this whole big thing going on. And it is cool being right under the fireworks like that. But when I see something like that, dude, I realize, okay, that was kindergarten, what I used to do. And this is like graduate school, man. These guys, mad props. That was the most phenomenal thing I've ever watched. And like I said, I think I said it last week on the show, or even the week before that, probably. I know I'd been thinking it for almost a month, where I was like, this is going to be the first 4th of July where I don't go out and do anything. Obviously, there's always cool stuff going on 4th of July. But I said this because I just wanted to really take in what was going on and the festivities and everything. And it was so cool just watching the coverage. There were different people who were there on the ground, watching them, do pictures or even put stuff in, watching Right Side Broadcasting, interview people is always fun. Then the speech was so cool. The fireworks were so cool. It was
singing
awesome.
and the dancing. Oh gosh, I couldn't get over that.
Oh man, it was so cool. Also too is, now that I don't drink anymore, being around people drinking, it's not always the worst, but it's just like, I don't know, that whole the whole scene, right? Of just hanging out every weekend and getting drunk. When you stop drinking, that gets a little boring and even grating at times. Just seeing people fall out of their chair, and you're just like, I kind of just want to hang out. Now I want to work on something. So yeah, after the fireworks, I actually started sketching out blueprints for a picnic table hung on a bill. So I'm like, that's cool. This is like awesome and productive. And so I was like triggering out 25-degree angle, doing research on what's better, 25 to 30, or say 20 to 30 degree angle for your legs. And actually I had my drafting scales out. So I actually have a 2-scale drawing of the one side of the picnic table now. And for it to make my exact cuts, I was triggering out how much more to make it. So the 25-degree angle is, so to me, that's fun. So that was like, as a whole, it was a really fun 4th of July. And then I also put together a barbecue on the Sunday. So that was cool. So it was really awesome. America 250. I had a freaking blast.
I love it. And just the idea of just that in general, just setting up your homestead. Just like, I think we're watching some YouTube videos where this guy's like, I think it was about picnic tables, for his backyard. And he's like, I looked and I can't find anything I like, so I'm just going to make one. And I thought that is the coolest American spirit, right? Same as you, Brad, us working on the trail. We can do it. And if costs and prices start dropping, which they are starting to, anything to do with fuel, that powers everything. That powers the cars that transport the goods, that powers the electricity, that makes the watering of the plants, that make the food. Everything just gets better and cheaper. So I feel that, if we just embrace this new way, the golden age way, like Trump says, you come to a wall, you don't stop. You find a way around it. You go over it. You dig a hole under it. He goes, I don't care. He says, you just don't quit. And that is the way. That's America, baby. That's America. And so cool.
That
so cool.
is so freaking cool. I like that. I like that you've brought that up a few times, and I love how that resonated with you, because that is
so inspirational.
Just the spirit of success. The guy has conquered the world several times over. Sometimes people who do nothing in life, they only want to highlight your failures, right? Or tell you what they don't like about the song you just wrote, right? I had a dude, he was a good friend of mine, but he was the lead singer of the Onslaught when we went in. And I think he wrote one song the entire time that we were in the band together. But man, he would be like, oh, I don't like that riff, or I don't like this, or you should do this like this. And it's like, there are people who blaze the trail, and then there are critics. Yeah, anyone can be a critic. It is okay, because you do need critics, right? It's a part of the process, but not everyone can blaze the trail. Not everyone's writing the song from scratch. You understand? Not everyone's doing the policy from scratch. So you get these people on the left who they'll talk about Donald Trump's bankruptcy in the early 90s, or some businesses. The guy's opened up a lot of, he tried this, let me try that, let me try this. That didn't work. But that is the mentality of a loser. That is someone, and there are always people who've never done anything in their whole lives personally, who now, I'm going to highlight the things that didn't work for Trump. And it's like, well, what about the things that did? This guy turned $1 million into $1 billion. 99% of the people, you give $1 million, they're just it's gonna be gone in 2 years, 2 or 3 years. It goes remarkably fast. You could watch documentaries on people who've won the lottery, talk about this phenomenon, and that money will be gone. Donald Trump turned it into an empire. He has had successful TV shows. Now he's one of the most successful presidents of all time. And when you hear business and talk, they all put their hat in a lot of rings, because you have to keep trying. I'm going to try this. All right, that didn't work. All right, I'm going to try this. That didn't work. I'm going to try this. Whoa, that really worked. Yeah, let's go with that. All right, boom. Let's try the friggin' construction world. This is what winners do. Mm-hmm. Winners try until they succeed. Losers go, I don't know, that guy tried that and he failed. That's not even worth it. And that's the difference. And that's why you have a dynamic person like Donald Trump in office, and everything is being opened up and set up for the future. Generational wealth is being given a foundation again in the United States of America.
And even our failures, like Trump, who started maybe a business and didn't work, he's not going to deny that and hide that. It's exactly like what Spencer Pratt was saying. He's like, our failures define us. They give us the character. They make us learn. Oh, I guess I learned how not to start a business. Even failures you can grow from. And, Spencer Pratt, he was saying that the communists want you just to forget everything, the memories in your house, the good and the bad, right? It's the same thing. If Trump didn't remember his failures, that he came to something that didn't work, he wouldn't have been able to advance. This is just logic. So we need the failures so we get better. Like I was built, making the trail down there. Oh, those rocks keep falling down. Well, I guess I got to brace it with bigger rocks so that the pressure from the other rocks, you learn, and then you adjust and you evolve and you grow. That's what life is. Like, what would life be without our failures? We would be nothing. There would be no reason to do anything, because you can't get better or worse, right? So we need those to learn from, grow from, and just be an awesome kick-ass human being. You could be like, oh, I failed, and then just stay in your wallowing scum. Great. Good for you. Or everybody's going to fail. And my whole point is everybody's going to fail, but it's what do you do with it? And Trump, he learned from it and he kept growing. He went up that totem pole so high, man. He's on the top.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah, you definitely learn from it.
Yep.
Yeah, your failures can mentally cripple you and you can give up, or you can learn great lessons and then do it again better.
Yep. 100%. So all of you out there, do it. No.
Yeah, don't ever give up. We're gonna find you. This is a comment from over on YouTube. Bougie Mabin says, I love how he does everything big, right? He's helping us all see what happens when you think big and manifest what you say. The art of positive thinking, speaking things into reality. Very true, right? As we were talking about this even earlier. Always think big, right? If you think about getting to the clouds, yeah, you might raise above your roof, but might not necessarily make it all the way to the clouds. If you think about going to the stars, even if you don't 100% succeed, you will wind up in the clouds. You know what I mean? So always think as big as possible, make that your goal, and where you wind up will be epic.
Yeah. And it's because your brain listens to you. Because of like a lot of the psychology research I went into, what you tell your brain will start to believe. So if you go, well, I'll never be able to reach the stars, your brain will believe that. And I don't know why, guys, but the world and the reality around you will form to what you believe. So if you believe, no, that's not true, I'm not going to listen to that, I can, succeed. Your brain goes, oh, Abby's not, it's weird because there's two. You have to step out and take control of your mind. Because most of the time we just do what our mind, we're reacting to what we're seeing. Okay. We're not actually in control of it.
Yeah, sure.
I watch something on TV, I feel this way. Well, that's just because Hollywood wanted to do that. I'm eating this food, so it's making me feel it. I have no control of what's happening to me. So step out, observe yourself, and you just go, hey, this is not a good spot for me. Let's make things better, and then try it. What we're talking about is not easy. You actually have to work at it. It's not like it's easy, but at the end of the day, guys, it is so worth it. And also just your soul will feel good, because that's what God is wanting us to do. God doesn't like communism, I'm telling you. He wants us to grow.
He doesn't appear to be a fan.
Yeah, sure. He's not a fan. He wants freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. What an amazing Bible verse that is. He wants us to be free and grow and love each other. All these wonderful things. The American spirit. And that's what we're doing. And mindset is everything. That's why I say that on my banner. It is. Once it hit me, I'm like, oh gosh, I think I figured it out.
It's like something clicks, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I love when you have those little revelations in life. You're like, oh, all right. Yeah. And so many things then will work in a different manner once you realize these little truths. It's so true. Yep. Okay, so as we're starting to wrap up the regular show here, let's say shout out to Foxy Lady, sent the cookie over on Pilled, and Daily Insanity says, you two are so cute together. Love your show.
Aww.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. And you should jump over on Brad's. What's going to happen is we'll do a call in. Babe, I still got to figure out with my thing. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. If it doesn't work again, then you can come
then
over.
You just go solo.
I can go solo. That's fine too. But yeah, so that was pretty fun last week. That's cool. I love there's a new built-in call-in option. I've always tried different ways over the years. We've tried Discord. It kind of worked, but it is kind of complicated to set up. And I was doing it another way for a little bit. I think with Zoom, and that kind of works too. But this is cool. This is like a classic call-in where it just says the caller on the bottom, and you can hear the voice. So no one has to, have their face on screen, which I really appreciated in the very beginning. So I could imagine that makes it easier to make the call. But yeah. So we'll be doing that. I'll be setting that up during the outro. It only takes me a second. So look for that on my channel, where we go when we go all on Rumble, or at Brad CGZ. That's how you can follow. You guys should, if you're not following me on Rumble, you should go follow me there as well. Also on Pilled and YouTube. So shout out to everyone who's hanging out. Love you guys. And Abby, you have any closing thoughts? And this will carry over into the after show too, but any closing thoughts on Freedom 250?
Oh man. Just Freedom 250 is a physical representation of what Trump is trying to do for the world and also for our mental state. There is no mountain we can't climb. He goes, show them a mountain, we'll climb it. Show them a river, we will cross it. The moon, let's go. Like what Trump's trying to, he's trying to invoke a spark that has never been lit in our young people.
Like that.
Something that, meaning you can do whatever you dream, obviously in God's will. I get that part, but yeah, so the 250, it gave this feeling of just, not only are we proud to be Americans, this is just the beginning, baby. And man, I've felt this for years, Trump coming back in, it's just like, we are there. And it was so wonderful. And just to see all these patriots there, I don't know their names, I don't know where they came from, but we were all of the same mind, right? We all love our president, and he is leading us into the golden age. And it was just great. It was one of the best celebrations I've ever witnessed. It was through the television, but it was phenomenal. And everyone involved, Secret Service, whoever, all the stage performers, the musicians, the lights display, the fireworks. It was magnificent. And it's for the history books. It's so cool. And we lived it, guys. And we're living it. It's continuing. There's just the FIFA Cup. There's going to be the car races. We're going to have a great time in America from now on out. I said so. So it's going to happen.
That's it. That's written in stone, guys. It's magnificent. Yeah, I love the positivity. I love the messaging too, because it was more than just the fireworks. It really was. Yeah. Everyone who came up there was basically talking about how what we've been talking about, change your mentality, change to a winning mentality, believe things can happen, and they are. And obviously we have a lot of help in Washington right now, but also just our society, right, is just the mentality that has changed amongst patriots in this country. Very powerful and very awesome. So,
a country of fighters and winners. Wow.
Yeah. With that, I hope you guys will hop on over. It's time about 5-10 minutes for the after party, for the after show. But we hope you enjoyed this show, and definitely, if you missed the beginning, go back and watch. We're breaking down what is going on now as the result of the tariffs that are happening, and all the manufacturing is coming back, and trying to do the math and show you how much this can really help you, because a lot of times you get the big numbers, you don't realize what it breaks down weekly. So we're also breaking down the new Trump kid accounts weekly and putting that together, and then different things like the Pell Grants and all these different programs that are coming out, and why they are really mixing, that they're going to absolutely change the landscape, especially for the poverty-stricken and working class. And there's going to be, these are also going to take people out of the welfare loop, out of that loop. You don't want to be on that. Yeah, it sounds nice. Oh yeah, we're going to get some free money. We're going to get, they're paying 75% of our rent, and we're getting a lot of food money. Yeah, it sounds nice, but you don't have any of that expendable income. Dude, when you get that paycheck from the factory, $1,300, a lot of that goes to bills and food and stuff. But all of a sudden, hey, I got about $400 a week here. That's just expendable. I'm going to put $200 for our 2 kids so they can get the max benefits from the Trump accounts. And I'm going to take this other $200 and I'm going to buy a router with it. Yeah. So I'm going to buy some power tools, or I'm going to put, I don't know, new anything. I'm going to buy a new recliner. All of a sudden you start realizing I can do stuff, or I can start saving it. Maybe move out of my neighborhood, move to a calmer neighborhood, move to the middle of the woods. All of a sudden you have money that you can start actually planning your life with, rather than just being stuck in the same Section 8 apartment, getting the same money, hanging out with the same people, getting freaking drunk or doing drugs every weekend. And not that they all do that, but I mean, that's the sort of lifestyle you get into. And even if you're not on welfare, I have some of my best friends growing up with, I could go there right now and be like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, come on over. And we'd sit on the couch and drink and watch YouTube videos. And it's cool, but it's not working towards much, right? It's just this kind of lather, rinse, repeat thing. And when you start getting better and better jobs and you start having that expendable income, you can start thinking bigger. You can start thinking about projects or putting something into it, or maybe buying your own house or building your own house. Anyway, that is what they are building. And I tried to do a pretty succinct breakdown of it all in the beginning of the episode. So also, I would suggest go back and watching the first half hour of this a second time to really soak that in, because these are also talking points that people who don't realize why we say Trump is doing good, maybe this can break them out of their prison of the mind.
Yeah, Brad brought the sauce.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People talk is cheap, but when you bring the actual evidence, which baby, thank you so much. He was up all night gathering this information, but it's worth it, guys, because we want you to see what's happening. And Zero, really good to see you. I love what you say, bringing back the spirit of optimism, 100%. That just instead of thinking the glass is half empty, it's the same thing. The glass just has a certain amount of water. It's the same outcome. It's the mindset. Now we think the glass is half full. When you think that way, it changes everything around you. If we all think that way, our reality will change for real. And really good to see you, Mama Dear, out there. Thank you. So good that you jumped in. And yeah, everybody over in chat, please, the link that I sent, go there, because that's going to take you to Brad's channel and he'll set up the call-in show. And I would really like you guys to call in. And yeah, I don't know, Brad, we'll see how that works out on my end, but
I've done 2 call-in shows now. One for the after show of last week's MAGA versus the World, and then one the night before when I was testing it. And it's fun. It's always cool. And yeah, I mean, people can even call up and be combative. Obviously, not everyone agrees with our positions and everything, but there's a chance for you guys to share your voice. So, with that said, thanks for hanging out. We love you. And
Mwah.
this is MAGA versus the World. Peace.